Stone fences and white clapboard buildings. This is pastoral, picturesque New England. A hotbed of stock car racing? You better believe it. A quarter century these fans have waited to see these Winston Cup drivers. And finally, there's a world-class facility here to showcase their talents. All the stars are here. And so are 70,000 jacked-up race fans. They've waited 25 years, and they just won't wait any longer.
Today, a dream becomes a reality here at New Hampshire International Speedway. Every one of these 60,000 seats were sold out on that snowy winter day when they went on sale last January. Today, New England proudly says we too are part of the most competitive motorsports in the world. Ken Squire bidding you welcome to the biggest racing day in New England history. Now, it's a misconception to believe that we New Englanders don't like our racing. From the very beginning, there's been some great racing in this part of the country. You go back to when World War II ended and all that energy came back to these shores. That's when it started. Over in Vermont, where I was born, there were 18 tracks. Could run 5 nights a week, and it was pretty much that way all across the United States. But in New England, we had a unique problem. We had established sports. Now, the Red Sox, the Bruins, Celtics are here. Basketball was born in Massachusetts. And our newspapers told us that anything that you couldn't put through a hoop or swing at was alleged not to be a sport. My, how times have changed. Today, motorsports is accepted and appreciated on all levels. And this $1 million 300-mile race is a crowning glory for all of us New England racing enthusiasts. A fellow New Englander is going to lead the call today. Here's Mike Joy.
Thanks, Ken. Like you, in my native Connecticut, racing has always been big among those who followed it. And now everyone in New England's attention is on this beautiful world-class facility. Another downeaster, well, downeastern United States, Alabama. That's where Neil Bonnet's from. But, Neil, the reception that the folks have gotten here has been tremendous.
Mike, we travel all over the country, and certainly people cater to the Winston Cup crowd. But I don't think I've ever seen as an emotional affair as this pre-race. From last place to the pole, a standing ovation. The fans have been great up here. They've had good racing through the years. And I think, in turn, the Winston Cup drivers are going to try to put on one of the best shows they've ever had.
Well, the fan response has been tremendous, but there are some familiar faces here, like the one on the pole. He's been there before, but Victory Lane, that's been another story for this driver. Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Well, thanks, Mike, and that's exactly right. Mark Martin has his second pole of the year, but an unusual point, he has not been to Victory Lane this year. Mark, you have had the dominant car so many times. You've led so many laps. Is today going to be the day you can turn it around?
Well, I don't know. Sure hope so. I couldn't be happier with the way our deal's going, the way our car's running and everything. This team is really doing a great job for me, and this might be the day, but as we saw at Michigan, you know, you can't win if it's not your turn. We hope today it's our turn.
Well, you've got our onboard camera, in-car camera with you. You going to give us some great shots?
Sure hope so. This car's been great ever since we've been here, and this is a really nice facility, so we're looking forward to this race.
Well, good luck to you, Mark. Now, a guy that we see week after week on the Busch Grand National Tour is also here. Jeff Burton, who normally runs Busch Grand National Racing, has qualified 6th. A great run for him in his first Winston Cup race. Randy Pemberton standing by with him.
Well, a couple of unique features about you. First of all, qualified very well. Second of all, the car that you're running today is a sister car for what Mark Martin has. He drove this car at North Wilkesboro. You're sitting in it today. Good qualifying effort. What about 300 laps here?
Well, we're real excited about this race. We're running real well. Yesterday morning we ran super, and yesterday afternoon we picked up a bad push. So a little bit hesitant about what's going to happen, but those guys in my crew, they made a lot of changes. I think we're ready to go.
Okay, good luck today, Jeff. Also in this crowd today, a couple of other, or at least one other Busch Grand National competitor, Joe Nemechek, will start in the 15th position. And incidentally, Mike, I think these two guys have the most experience on this racetrack.
It may well be. In fact, of the 5 drivers in this field that ran the Busch Series last year, Randy, 4 of them qualified in the top 20. A driver who you last saw on national TV bring his car to a halt on pit road, a bit dazed in the Pepsi 400 last week, is with Buddy Baker.
Kyle last week and Daytona, you look like it's in pretty bad shape. How are you doing now? And tell me a little bit about last week, because, I mean, you stopped in pit road, and it looked bad.
Yeah, I'm doing okay now. It took 3 or 4 days to get over it, but what happened was it was hot, and I think the heat contributed to it, but I got in that wreck with Jimmy Spencer and those guys and knocked all the inner panels out, and you know how it is when you get the carbon monoxide, your fingers start tingling, then my legs started tingling and went numb, so I told them to get somebody, but we couldn't find anybody, and by the time they told me to pit, I didn't know whether I was on pit road or on the racetrack, to tell you the truth, so I just stopped, and they hauled me out, and we couldn't find anybody to get in the car, but I'm doing pretty good.
Kyle, what about today? Are you 100% now?
Yeah, I think so. You know, it's hard to say. I'm still a little weak, I think. Still having headaches pretty bad, but, you know, with enough Tylenol and enough water, I think I'll be able to go.
Let me tell all of you something. The Petty family is notorious for going all the way. This guy will make it.
In fact, Buddy, Richard Petty was seen running for his helmet to go in relief of Kyle, but he was not an eligible relief driver last week. Wouldn't that have been something? Neil, long straightaways and big but flat turns on this racetrack. What are we going to see?
Mike, I think anytime you come to a new track, the crews and the drivers and the engine builders can expect a little bit of problem getting a hold of the racetrack, getting the right power source, and just getting everything dialed in for the race. Some of the teams came up here and tested a few weeks ago, but that's out the window now. Big heat wave in this part of the country. Track's totally different, so I think the thing we're looking at, scramble all day, try to get the car dialed in during the race, and see who's good at the end.
But now we're more used to 400 and 500-mile races on the super speedways. This one's just 300.
This one is just 300, and this 300 is going to be a doozy because they can sprint race this thing. These drivers are capable of 300 miles flat out, and they're going to have to do that. You can't wait till the end of the race. You're going to get there in a hurry. We're going to see some quick racing early in this race.
And one driver we will see today is Ken Schrader, suspended by NASCAR for illegal carburetor parts during last week's qualifying. He won the appeal. Still got the fine, but Schrader and car owner Joe Hendrick are here, and Kenny will be in the race today. We'll be right back. TNN Motorsports' exclusive coverage of the Slick 50 300 is brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Haviland Formula 3 motor oil. Add more life to your car. And by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm. Getting set to fire engines here at New Hampshire International Speedway. Since it's the halfway point of the 1993 season, we thought we would make that the topic of this week's Haviland Update. There's been a lot of celebrating for Dale Earnhardt in this first half of the 1993 season. After a narrow defeat at Daytona, Earnhardt clamped on the rear bumper of Rusty Wallace, the checkered flag at Rockingham. And after 2 races, the point standing looked like this. Then March rolled in like a lion to Atlanta Motor Speedway, the blizzard of 93, delaying the Motorcraft 500. Finally, Morgan Shepherd took the checkered flag to the delight of the Wood brothers. And after 4 races, Earnhardt's lead was down to just 19 points. But then Earnhardt won Charlotte. And at Dover, it was a battle of the 2 Dales. Earnhardt leading Jarrett to the checkered flag. That was Dale's 3rd win of the season, followed up by a 4th victory just last week in Daytona, as Earnhardt seeks his 6th Winston Cup. Right now, the points look like this. Earnhardt has a 251 lead on Dale Jarrett. Rusty Wallace, another 94 points behind. Then, Morgan Shepherd and Ken Schrader. Sears Die-Hard Batteries, now with more power when you need it most, presents the starting grid for today's Slick 50 300. 20th career pole and 2nd of the season for Mark Martin. His Valvoline Ford on the pole. Sterling Marlin in a Ford, his first front row start this year. Jeff Gordon is in the 2nd row for the 5th time this year with Kenny Schrader, who finished 3rd at Daytona last week. Terry Labonte, 5th, best starting spot of the year. Jeff Burton won last July here in a Busch Series event. Davey Allison, winner at Richmond in March, and Ernie Irvin, who won a last lap thriller at Talladega this May. The Daytona 500 champ Dale Jarrett and Ricky Rudd, who won at Michigan last month. In row 6, Jimmy Spencer with a lot of Busch experience here, and Michael Waltrip. Row number 7, Jimmy Hensley, who has the Busch qualifying record here, and Morgan Shepherd, who won at Atlanta on TNN. Joe Nemechek makes his first Winston Cup start ever, and Rick Wilson. In row 9, Bobby Labonte with 2 second-place finishes here, and Bill Elliott. Row number 10, Kyle Petty, who won at Pocono last month with Ted Musgrave, who was 5th in that event. Then Lake Speed, the former Darlington winner and 3-time Winston Cup champ, Darrell Waltrip. In row 12, Brett Bodine is looking for his first win since 1990, and Dale Earnhardt starts way back in 24. Worst all year for him. Kenny Wallace won a Busch race here in 91, and Rick Mast did so in 1990. Jeff Bodine, who won the Sears Point race in May, and Bobby Hillen. Then Harry Gant, who's a 2-time veteran here at New Hampshire, and Greg Sachs, the 85 Daytona 400 winner. Wally Dallenbach starts in row number 16, along with Hut Strickland. Then it's Rusty Wallace, 4-time race winner this year, deep in the field, and Dave Marcus makes his 727th Winston Cup start. Former Rookie of the Year Ken Bouchard returns to the tour. Jerry O'Neill from New York State outside. Then Dick Trickle in the Raymont car, and Derek Cope, the 90 Daytona winner. Bill Parsons, he's won at Talladega, and Jimmy Means makes his 448th career start. They're on the pace lap, and we'll be right back to the nation's newest super speedway as we bring it to you live on TNN. We're back at Loudon, New Hampshire. Bob Beer's beautiful 1-mile super speedway about to drop the green on its first Winston Cup race. He'll be riding along with Mark Martin from the pole in his Jack Roush Valvoline Ford. There he is next to Sterling Marlin. There's your dome light camera looking over Mark's shoulder straight ahead. And we've got a face cam over on the driver's side that can also see down the left side of that car, and the roof cam on Mark Martin's car to show you what he says, what he sees as he looks ahead at the pace car. Jimmy Spencer in the Meineke Mufflers Tic Tac Ford, the Bobby Allison car, former national modified champion. He'll be riding with him today. There's the onboard race cam in Jimmy Spencer's machine. And a look out the right window of Jimmy Spencer's car and off the rear bumper, looking back at Jimmy Hensley. Also, leading rookie on the tour, Jeff Gordon, and his DuPont Hendrick Chevrolet. We'll show you from Jeff Gordon this view as they come down for the start. Jeff Gordon grabs for the shifter, looking off the rear roof, and here they come, green flag. Mark Martin leads them into one. Last night they put a bit of sealer down up in turn number 3, the extreme heat. Martin a little tentative about flying off down there to lead lap 1 down in turn number 3, but here he comes with it. Marlin is second, Gordon is third, Schrader. And a side-by-side fight for fourth. You're riding with Jimmy Spencer. Just ahead, Dale Jarrett and Mike Waltrip. Now with Jeff Gordon in third place. Out of turn 4 to complete lap 1, the first ever Winston Cup lap at New Hampshire International or in New England. Up. Around goes the 0 car of Jeff Burton. Ken Schrader with him, and he couldn't save it. Ernie Irvin got into it. And Burton goes up to the wall. A tough debut for the Phil Martossi team in Winston Cup racing. And Jeff Burton, one of the best flat track drivers in the Busch Grand National Series, ends up in the fence.
George really tough about that. After he lost it around, the 4 car come by. It looked like a tangle with the 4. They're coming back to the start-finish line.
Mike Burton is back in the race. He's back up to speed. He's off the wall and coming around now.
Chevrolet Corvette pace car will pick him up down in turn 1.
Ernie Irvin has some front end damage on his car. When he come by, I noticed a lot of smoke off the right front corner of his car.
We'll be running our TNN 800 number throughout this telecast. You can call in toll-free with your questions about this event. The call is free, 800-451-7331, all throughout today's telecast. We're under caution. We'll be right back. Welcome back to New Hampshire International. You're watching Ernie Irvin's crew. They had a lot of repairs to make from damage from this incident. Jeff Burton, you see his back out, damage to the left front and rear. Let's show you what happened. Back at 4th spot.
Well, you see Schrader, he tried to avoid him. He got all the way under the yellow line, but Burton come down. They made a little bit of contact, and there's a lot of cars that were damaged in this thing. 21 cars got some dump. You can see them right here. They jammed up in the center part there.
Yeah, they got together going down in turn 1. As this came around, the 4 car takes a pretty good lick right here from Burton. The 21 car has a lot of damage to the nose area of it. The 4 car took looked like the hardest lick on the side. Here's Jeff Gordon in car waving his hand going down in the corner. And here they are right behind him. There's where they touch.
Now a bit of damage to the right front of Schrader's car where the contact was initiated. It was the right front of Schrader into the left rear of Jeff Burton.
Yeah, they were doing the put some tow in the car right there.
You know what that looked like, guys? If they went down in the corner, if Jeff Gordon saw the first two cars slowing down fast, he put up his hand and maybe the zero car put on the brakes, and of course Schrader had nowhere to go and under him, and then they made the contact.
A little contact there as Sterling Marlin tries to lead a lap of this race. We're back under green. 5 complete. Mark Martin up front, Sterling Marlin, the outside pole sitter in the Ray Vestas Ford, trying to chase him down.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of leads, not necessarily right on the front end of the pack. The guys are going to try to have to work their way to the front in a hurry because it's just such a short race compared to what they normally run.
Only 300 laps around this 1 mile facility. Turns 1 and 2 right down around the bottom. Jeff Gordon in 3rd, Terry Labonte in 4th, Davey Allison in 5th.
Mark Martin had called before the race started and said he's going to be a little cautious, not worry about leading, but his car must feel really good because he is leading the race. He must feel like he can do anything he wants to do right now. He was going to lay back some.
Well, they put a sealer on this track like yesterday in 3 and 4, but it's the type that's not slick like the old bear grease they used to use in Darlington and all, and it sets up in less than 30 minutes.
I think that sealer was more of a safety feature. This is a great little racetrack, and they just never had to deal with this type of heat before. First time they've ever had it up here, put it on there just as a safety feature.
Well, record high temperatures here this week in the 90s up till today. Today it'll be in the higher 80s, but with lower humidity than we've seen. Riding with the hottest rookie on the tour, Jeff Gordon of the DuPont Chevrolet. Takes little bites out of that wheel down in turn 1, buddy.
Yeah, that's a great shot there. He was talking to his crew chief just then down the straightaway. You see his thumb go over and get on the microphone.
Yeah, if we talk this track, they say it's 12-degree turns in the corners, but look how flat. See the car slip right there as he went in the corner. It looks flat from inside the car. That 12 degrees goes away in a hurry. You come in there 130, 40 miles an hour.
Looking from Gordon back to Terry Labonte, who had his best qualifying start of the year. Dale Earnhardt, who had his worst qualifying run of the year here, coming up. And caution out of turn 4. Mike Waltrip, Kenny Schrader. Looks like Greg Sachs up against the wall. Is that? No, that's Bill Parsons, excuse me. And there's one other car involved. I think that's Jerry O'Neill, the black car. That coming out of turn number 4 at lap 10. Ken Schrader already 1 lap down. As a result of the first incident of the day, it's wrapped up in another one.
Or a big packer car is trying to race back to the caution.
Of course, that accident right out of turn 4, you see the tire marks left by the Mannheim Auctions car of Phil Parsons up there. This is our infrared camera, courtesy of Cincinnati Electronics Corporation. And you see on the right side that bar scale from dark blue to bright red. That shows you the relative heat in the racetrack. We'll look at this a few times during the day, and if you look down in the lower right corner of the screen, you'll see the temperature of the track is in the green range thus far, which is a little more than 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and they expect it to go much hotter. We'll have some other interesting pictures from this camera as we go throughout the day. That the white end of the scale, way at the top, is about 270 degrees Fahrenheit. Now let's match up the infrared shot with the cars coming through. Down in the below 100 degrees of the scale, except for the tires. You can see there the heat from the exhaust. The camera in the infrared part of the color spectrum, way above the red that you see, measures heat production, not light reflection.
Yeah,
do not adjust your set.
No, that red is just strictly exhaust you see coming out of these cars, and when they're under full power, that thing is all the way out the side of the car. It's like 10 foot. A lot of cars coming in the pits.
And Ken Schrader has climbed from his car and heads back to the garage area. We're under caution for the second time today at the nation's newest super speedway in New Hampshire. Welcome back to New Hampshire International Speedway. You're riding along with Mark Martin, about where the outside rearview mirror would be on your passenger car at the doorpost. Mike Waltrip was part of that incident with Phil Parsons, Jerry O'Neill, Ken Schrader. Let's show you what happened up in turn 4. Okay, let's
adjust our sets again.
I think that's the fire truck parked there in turn number 4. Now let's show you what happened.
There's Jerry O'Neill coming off the wall with Mike Walter coming behind him in a yellow car. Looked like Schrader had got together with someone right off the corner up there.
It's the aftermath of that one. And it parks 4 cars, at least momentarily. That was Ken Bouchard slipping through in the Burger King car.
Katie Haas is down here working with his crew this week. She's working on the 30 cars. You better get busy.
That's Ken Schrader's car being hauled to the garage area. He has walked back there. Everybody okay. You know Ken Squire, the race announcer. Meet Ken Squire, the track promoter. A little bit of racing up here in northern New England.
How much do they care about stock car racing up here in New England? Well, this is a typical Thursday night at a track that's very dear to my heart, Thunder Road in Barre, Vermont. A couple of years ago, Joey LeCaire Jr. won the Thunder Road Track Championship. That winter, he was killed in a snowmobile accident. LeCaire's hometown, Barre, is called the granite capital of the world. Local stone cutters, Joey's friends and neighbors, fans, they wanted to remember him as a champion. And this is what they created in stone. It took 5 months to carve a 6-ton half scale of number 61, complete and detailed to the A-frame, the lug nuts, even his signature. This is how much they care about their stock car champions up here in New England.
Well, as Ken will be the first to tell you, it's the fans that make New England racing special and how devoted they are to their sport, just as they are down south or any other part of the country where stock car racing has an avid following. Phil Parsons' car is being hauled back to the garage area as well as Ken Schrader's. You see a bit of speedy dry down here in turn number 1 and off into turn number 2. That's the fire truck leading the parade ahead of the Corvette safety car. From our 800 number, who is Jeff Burton driving for today? That call from Pennsylvania. Still Mark Tossi, the same fellow who owns his Busch Series car. The TIC Financial Ford is the car. It's a rental from the Jack Roush shops.
The rent just went up.
Yeah, I think the rent went up after that little bout with the wall.
Well, to bring you up to date on what's happened to Ernie Irvin, the damage that he suffered in that first crash seems to be just sheet metal. They tell me the toe end's okay. There doesn't seem to be any steering component damage. They have made repeated stops under these cautions to try to pull the fenders off the tires. Other than that, he's okay. They were glad to see the caution flag. Darrell Waltrip, you mentioned Mike got off to a poor start. They had a plug wire off at the beginning of the race, and now they also have gearbox problems, but they think that they have his problems corrected too. So these early cautions gave these guys a chance to do that repair work and get caught up without losing too much time.
Engine builder Lou LaRosa there working under the hood along with the rest of that crew. And since we're under caution, we'll take a pause from New Hampshire International and be right back live on TNN. TNN Motorsports exclusive coverage of the Slick 50 300 is brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. Welcome back to TNN's live exclusive coverage of the Slick 50 300. John from Mississippi called in. He wanted to see a restart from the in-car camera, so John will take you for a ride with Jimmy Spencer as he comes up through the gears. Jimmy used to drive for Buddy Baker, so let's let him call this.
Okay. He's in third gear. There's third gear. He was in second. He looked to the outside. Nothing there. He better not try that right now. He's got a little oil dry to work with now.
He's trying under Ricky Rudd.
Whoop. Ooh. That's why they call him Mr. Excitement. Did you see that?
He'll do it, won't he? That's at 8th place. For Spencer running right behind Ricky Rudd and just ahead of Jimmy Hensley. Up at the front of the pack. Mark Martin, and now you're back with Spencer once again. Mark Martin leading Sterling Marlin by just a car length. Jeff Gordon in third. And Terry Labonte having a great run in fourth. Here comes Sterling.
Okay, that was a heads-up move there. It's a little early to go in there two abreast right now. They'll fight it out with 10 laps to go, but right now I think he's just content to run in second place. See Jeff Gordon fighting that car just a little bit there. They get a little loose coming up out of the corner here.
Is he fighting it or feeling it?
Feeling it. That's what you call walking the tight wire there. That's very close to going all the way around with that steering wheel when you see him working like that.
I tell you, they put enough oil dry and stuff down. We've had these cautions early. If there's just a little bit of stuff, you can see it on the track, it blows around, and it takes a few laps to clear it off, and you just have to be real cautious working that wheel right now.
Mark Martin back to second. We've had 16 Winston Cup races this year. He has led 11 of them. You see the onboard Ford telemetry, and the RPM at the end of the straightaway comes up to, hold your breath, 8,400 RPM.
And he just backed the pace down. You know, when he was leading the race, he's kind of let the 8 car go on. He's going to pace it. He said earlier he didn't want to run the car that hard to start of the race. And 8,400 backing her down. It's pretty stout, everybody.
You bet your life it is. Look at that. 153 mile an hour down the front straightaway into a flat corner, folks. Those things better to stick to that racetrack and you're out of here.
When you come to a flat track, you saw in the middle of the corner, RPM dropped to 5,300. So you're asking the motor to work from 53 up to 84, 8,500. So it really labors that engine on these flat tracks.
That's a big swing. It's no wonder they call this a big Martin.
That's right. You know, we go to a place like Daytona, Talladega, and you'll drop 50 RPM, or maybe 100 RPM. A place like this, when you're dropping that much, it really runs the motor to a big cycle of using it.
Morgan Shepherd dropping back a spot. Shepherd was involved in that first incident of the day. He's still on the lead lap and loses 6th place to Rudd.
He's got a good bit of damage on the right front of the 21 car. There you go. You can see it. He got in the back of some of those cars in that first wreck.
That's Shepherd on the left of your screen. Jimmy Spencer. Jimmy Hensley. There's a very up-close view of Jimmy Hensley from the bumper cam on Spencer's car.
That goes from have you driven a Ford lately to have you rode on a Ford lately.
Or maybe have you felt one lately. That was a little touchy. It was uptight.
We about lost an in-car camera yesterday. Tom Baldwin took us for quite a ride in the modified race, including into the wall when his engine let go on the very last lap. Cameras survived. So did Tom and the race car.
These drivers have to maintain that distance here. What he wants to do is get right up under him. If he can make that car slip a little bit, then he just has a foot to drive up and get up beside him. You just got to keep that car there, pestering them all the time, hoping they slip, and you can stick your foot in the door.
For Don from Washington, no restrictor plates here at New Hampshire International. As we watch this battle for 5th place, Davey Allison trying Terry Labonte. Not this time. Labonte in the Kellogg's car acknowledged as one of the best road racers in NASCAR. And this track is so flat, Neil, same type of smooth driving style might serve him well here.
That, along with the fact we were watching telemetry a while ago, you can see him using the brake a lot. Some tracks you go to, you just barely touch the brake, but it requires a good bit of braking getting in this corner. That road racing pays off on that also.
Jimmy Spencer underneath Morgan Shepherd goes on by.
There's a little bit better shot at that damage we were talking about before. Really roll back right there.
That is bucket ugly, the front of that car. Put some tape over that. Come on.
I think Morgan's holding him up a little bit, but he really got a lot of damage on the nose of that car. It's about as aerodynamic as it gets.
Mark Martin's getting back up on the back bumper of Sterling Marlin. He let him go a while ago. He might have decided, hey, the pace is not as quick as I want to run it. And he's going to get up there and put the heat back on the 8 car again, trying to take that lead back, it looks like.
See, those two cars are trying to check out. Either he's putting the heat on them or he's trying to hook up with him, Neil, and go, because they have distanced the 3rd place car of Jeff Gordon by a good bit. Oh, here comes Mark. He's about half under that white line, buddy.
You know, we seen in the Busch Grand National race yesterday, one car would get out in the lead and maybe use his tires a little too much, and he'd fall back, and the 2nd place car would catch up, and then they would catch it out again. So what they're doing right now is just feeling each other out.
Just to update you back in the pack, Earnhardt started 24th. He's now up to 13th. Rusty Wallace started back in 33rd position. He's moved to 24th. Derek Cope, who started back in 38th, he's climbed the ladder up to 22nd spot. Here at the front of the field, Sterling Marlin, looking for his first ever Winston Cup victory. He has one top 5 finish this season. Best finish ever, 2nd, 8 times in the Daytona 400.
Here we go. Mark Martin has followed him and followed him. He says, hey, I got to go again. He's up under him. He's got that inside line, and that should give him the lead as they go through 3 and 4.
Long straightaway, and Marlin drops in as they hit turn number 3. Yesterday in the Busch North race and in the modified race, we saw a lot of side-by-side racing for the lead. Not so much here yet. Most of the drivers seem at least content when they get down to the corner to give the corner to the car on the inside and then drop in. I don't think we'll see that all day.
No, that'll go away after a while. Right now, they're willing to give you a little bit more, but later on, they're going to get pretty darn greedy before the day's over. You're going to have to work for that territory.
The Dales are getting greedy right here. Jarrett and Earnhardt inside of Rick Wilson on the STP Pontiac. Here comes the Interstate Chevrolet of Jarrett. That green and black machine. Earnhardt head hunting on the outside.
I think as the course of this race goes on, you'll see that outside lane get to be a little bit more workable. They're just protecting that inside line a lot more now. They'll have to move around that outside lane to make some passes.
This track is plenty wide for 2 wide and even, maybe a little 3 wide racing. Plenty wide, but also flat. Bobby Labonte moving up. He was one of those 4 Busch regulars from last year who qualified here in the top 20. Bill Davis Maxwell House car running just behind Earnhardt.
I think that's one of the keys to the development of the Busch Series. They've started running tracks, even though this is a new track, they started running on tracks the Winston Cup cars move up into this division. They're not out in left field on a track location, so it was even an asset to be coming out of the Busch running here before.
Neil, you're exactly right. The problem they had yesterday, they couldn't find anybody to hold the rookie meeting. Most all the rookies, the Rookie of the Year candidates, have already won on this racetrack, and a lot of the Winston Cup guys have never even seen it.
Well, we had 2 rookies on the pole. Mark Martin, Sterling Marlin had never ran here before.
Right. Earnhardt goes under Rick Wilson. Bobby Labonte tries to follow him through, but the door slams on his Ford. Now it's Jarrett underneath Morgan Shepherd.
Well, Jarrett's starting to move up a little bit. Looks like that damage that Morgan has to his car might be affecting him a little bit. He's been good in practice and everything. The Cento car, he's falling back just a little bit now.
9th place there, Shepherd. Just ahead of them, Jimmy Hensley. What happened to Earnhardt in qualifying? 24th.
I was walking through the garage talking to him, and he said, hey, I just messed up. He said, I ran down in the corner. He said, I thought I had a shot to set on the pole, and he ran in so hard, he just slid out, and it just killed him.
Trying it on Morgan Shepherd. Meanwhile, Bobby Labonte made a nifty pass on Rick Wilson. Things got a little close down there, buddy, with everybody trying to stay on that bottom groove.
Well, Earnhardt come off the corner underneath the 21 car and got a little bit sideways, and he just feathered it out of there and got the preferred line going in the next corner. I think Morgan's in a lot of trouble as far as aerodynamics.
These cars weigh 3,500 pounds before the race. Frank from Nevada called in. Wondered if they lose a fender, what would happen if they didn't make weight at the end of the race and they had a bunch of body work missing, as some of these guys do.
The only thing you have to fulfill on the weight after the race, if you do not have damage, they'll let you refill it with fuel and water and weigh it. But if you have damage, then just take that into consideration.
First 3 cars, and Gordon has come back to the 2 Fords, where the race is coming to him.
Look how much smoother his hand is in the corner. He's got the car, he's got his rhythm in. He's going to make somebody work today.
Starting to reel on in there. I'm not so sure before. He's working that wheel. I think might have been chattering that front end just a little bit. Or the rear on him, but he's got it real smooth, as Buddy says now.
And Davey Allison's moved right up on the front 4 now, so he's really trucking.
Jeff Gordon on the 1-mile ovals this season. He was 34th at Rockingham. His second Winston Cup race, or third career Winston Cup race, 18th now. Riding with Martin there. That windowsill cam as he leads. A good bit of breeze in the car here.
They do, and if you notice on that pillow there beside his left, on the left side there, that's where his fresh air comes in, and you see the tube running up into his helmet there. That's fresh air from the outside, and that really helps a lot.
Rick Wilson had to use a little bump and run to get past Morgan Shepherd there. Open the door for Kyle Petty. Mellow Yellow Pontiac and Brett Bodine in the Quaker State Ford moving up.
You know, one thing might be a problem here is they use a lot of braking at this racetrack, and it looks like a lot of the brake duct and stuff on the right front of that car is gone. It could heat up that right front brake and really make the car handle. Change the characteristics a great deal.
Kyle Petty moves up a spot on Shepherd. That'll move Kyle up into 13th position.
That car is working extremely well, and I think his driving style is really going to help him here. He does not run a car too hard off in the corner. I think he's going to save there. And he makes the straightaway really long because he gets back in the throttle early in the corner. So I think Kyle will be moving up right on up to the front.
So says Professor Baker of the Buck Baker Driving School at Rockingham, where Kyle Petty. You teach that move to your students down there?
Yeah, why use the straightaway too far and then have to cut it sideways getting in the corner? If I'd have known that, I'd won 400 races, I guess.
There's Joe Nemechek. He's first one of the Winston Cup races he's ran. That car is not like one lease. That car is out of their shop.
Whoa, we got a pass for the lead here.
Sterling Marlin back to the front.
And Davey Allison just goes by Gordon John Cox. Boy, I'm in there, aren't I? I just went back about 50 years, folks.
We're not going out Saturday nights before the race anymore, Baker. Jeff Gordon in fourth spot and 3 Fords in front of the first Chevrolet. Here comes Davey Allison. And here's Dale Jarrett moving under Jimmy Hensley in the Purelator Ford and Earnhardt. This looks like Dover. Oops, Chapter 2. The Dale and Dale show right here. Oh, Earnhardt's car really slid a bit. Here comes Labonte.
Labonte down on the inside.
Now what?
And that line, well, Hensley was coming down from that outside lane. I didn't know if he saw the 22 car enter that corner. Chopped right across the front of him. They missed each other.
You know, I give Bobby Labonte high marks there because usually you follow a Dale Earnhardt, you don't expect somebody like that to make a mistake you can capitalize on. When Earnhardt started to slide up, Labonte jumped right underneath him.
You know the thing, though, they race each week, you know, in the Busch Grand National thing. So, I mean, they're used to racing each other, and they know each other pretty well.
The Busch Series does not run as long the races as a lot of the Winston Cup guys. These Busch guys are ready for when they drop that flag to try to get to the front and hurry. That 22 car has been working really good all weekend.
One of the best runs Bobby Labonte's had this year. In fact, all of the Busch Series drivers with flat track recent experience and big heavy car doing pretty well. Labonte best finished 8th this year at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Another thing you talk about, Joe, 3 Fords right up there in the front of the race, and you come to a track where it's real torquey like this, pull them down low RPM, make them come from low RPM up to high, and it seems like the Fords really work good on those type of tracks.
That's it, Neil. We saw Mark Martin's telemetry go from 5,300 in the middle of the corner to 8,400 at the end of the straightaway. That's quite a swing.
You see Jimmy Hensley run the track out here. I think he's won here, if I'm not mistaken, and he said this morning he really likes this racetrack. It fits his driving style.
Well, when you say Martinsville, you think of Jimmy Hensley. He flies at that place. We just got a little bit bigger Martinsville right here. Doing a good job.
Back up front, it's Sterling Marlin. Trying to score his first Winston Cup win. You see how far in front he is. The second place car of Mark Martin. 42 laps. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Slick 5300 at the New Hampshire International Raceway or Speedway. Back here in the garage area, the crew works on Kenny Schrader's car. I tried to get an interview with him. He's had a rough weekend. He said he wanted to go in the trailer and cool off. Here's the damage on Schrader's car. Upper and lower control arms on the left-hand side of the car. New brake rotor. They have to do tons of things like new brake lines, as well as an oil cooler has to go in. So Schrader's car suffered a tremendous amount of damage. They have to do some work on the sheet metal as well in the left-hand corner of the car. Crew tells me they're looking at about 30 minutes to get back out on the track, but of course they're going to do it because of those Winston Cup points.
30 minutes will put us at about lap 120, Randy, the way at the pace we're going. Here's a view from high above New Hampshire International, our Ray Vestas brake cam, provided by Ray Vestas, the best in brakes. And you see just how long those turns are to get around them. Packed house here. There have been parking cars as much as 3 miles away and busing people in to get them into this speedway. But the state of New Hampshire has really worked with the track folks for traffic control. I've never heard of this at a Winston Cup race. They're going to take Interstate 93 going south, and of the 3 northbound lanes, 2 of them are going to be southbound, 5 lanes south and only 1 lane north on the interstate after this race to try to get all these folks home as easily as possible. The cooperation from the whole state of New Hampshire has been terrific. Bill Elliott, Budweiser Ford of Junior Johnson underneath Brett Bodine. This battle back at 18th position, still on the lead lap, as our 34 of our 40 starters.
You know, as Neil said, he thought the groove on. Looks like Bill may have a little bit of tire heat right now. He's dropping back just a little bit, but the outside groove is starting to work. You notice these cars are starting to pass on the outside here. Bill's extremely loose.
Joe Nemechek in the Dentine Chevrolet. First Winston Cup start. Don't be surprised if you see him on the senior circuit next year.
As I was saying earlier, they built that car at their shop. It runs the same shop the Busch car does, and they want to do some stuff on their own with their Winston Cup cars.
And if he moves up, he might just see brother John take over the Busch ride. Running some all-pro type racing.
There we see Ernie Irvin in the yellow car, the 4 car back there. Had all that damage at the first of the race. And usually, if there's not some problem, his car comes right to the front. So I can't help but think that wreck did something to the car that's not as good as it was.
Rusty Wallace got out boating on Lake Winnipesaukee yesterday. Had some fun.
Boy, when they named these lakes around here, they had to be in a hurry.
Rusty Wallace on the move. He's up to 16th position right now. Wallace started deep in the field, 33rd.
You know, I talked to him last night a little bit, and he told me the reason he qualified terrible is he just made an error himself. The car was really good, and you can see it's working pretty well right now. He's on the bottom of the racetrack trying to move up.
Now, he came back yesterday and was the fastest second-round qualifier. Also hugging the bottom, Jimmy Means there has made a pit stop in the Hurley limo Ford under green. Come back out. 53 laps complete. 3 Fords, 2 Chevrolets in the top 5. Dale Jarrett just ahead of Ricky Rudd.
He just passed him the last lap. That put him up in 5th place. Jarrett's really been coming through the field, and if you'll stop and think, when they had that wreck right in the first, he almost T-boned the guy and made a good move and moved right up into 5th place. His car's working well.
Both these 2 cars, Neil, Jarrett and the Tide Chevrolet of Ricky Rudd. Jarrett snaked his way through the field. Rudd had to get hard on the brakes. But then on the next caution flag, Rudd went from 11th to 7th position, racing back to the flag to get back to the front.
Yeah, that's where it goes. One caution it cost him, the next one he took advantage of. So it pretty well evened out for him. You know, the Hendricks cars are running exceptionally well. We're looking at the 18 car. That has an engine from Hendricks in it. Ricky Rudd's running good. You've got Gordon up front. Their stuff is really working.
Right behind Jarrett, there's Dave Marcus down on the inside. The veteran among all drivers in career Winston Cup starts that are active. His car, sponsored by ATL Rentals. That's a New England company. They rent storage trailers. The first time they've ever been able to entertain their customers at a Winston Cup race anywhere near home.
Well, I tell you, it's not only the fan sports, it's just nice to see the companies, the city. We had the governor here a while ago. I'm telling you, these people are behind this type of racing.
Dave Marcus. One of the last of the independents in Winston Cup racing. Always a threat.
I wonder if Marcus is charging them running today. Reverse order on this deal.
Here's Bobby Labonte up to move around him. The Maxwell House car. Up at second place. Mark Martin now has a mirror full of baby Allison in the Texaco Haviland Ford.
Yeah, and we would show you the leader, Sterling Marlin, but he just jumped out from these 2 guys. He's about 3 seconds up there. If he wants TV time, he's got to slow up a little bit.
And a bunch of lap cars in between them.
Mark is good at working his car as good as his car wants to go. If it's flying, he checks out. And right now, the thing's not just like he wants it, but he's using it. Like maybe get up here, try to pass him, Mark, pull out a little bit. Maybe you're working on him, they pull out a little bit. These 2 cars are pretty even match, second, third place.
I mean, he's working that wheel pretty much.
Yeah, I think right now he's got a little bit of a, let's see, we'll watch his hands. I can tell he's pushing just a little bit at this point.
That's on the back of Jimmy Spencer's car, close encounter of the number 3 car.
Yeah, they just got a while ago on the radio. We heard our guys who pickups that Earnhardt's car's got a tremendous amount of pushing. A lot of these cars, some of them are pushed, some are loose. They're looking for that car first pit stop they can make to make some adjustments to these cars. And several guys up front need some work.
We've got cautions at lap 2 and lap 10, but none of the leaders have pitted.
I'll explain that little deal about where his hands were, why I knew it was pushing. You see the hands on the far left side pulling down. That means the car won't turn. If you see him on the right side, he's in trouble. He's loose.
Spencer and Earnhardt real high, turn 4. Have to go around the lap car. Marcus, he puts him way out in that outside lane.
9 places at stake here. A couple of cars off the pace, missing the handle. Darrell Waltrip's going a lap down. Smoke reported on the Jimmy Means car. Still 30 cars on the lead lap.
It looks like Earnhardt's getting off the corner a lot better than Spencer, but as you notice, the car itself is fishtailing off the corner on Earnhardt. They're going to have to make an adjustment when he comes in on pit stop.
We're at 60 laps here of 300 at New Hampshire International Speedway. Somewhere between lap 90 and 100, we'll look for green flag gas stops. Under green.
That's another thing, Mike. These guys really don't know how long they can go. Here we are, the first time they've ever run green stop at this racetrack. So they're going to have to be a little cautious this first run, how far they can take these race cars.
That was a familiar sight to me, seeing that 3 car come right up on your trunk like that.
Yeah, but you didn't feel it like normal.
Yeah. 4 wins for Earnhardt, 8 top 5 finishes. He is the point leader.
250 over Dale Jarrett.
Look at that car bounce. They run a real soft suspension on this racetrack. Because of the flat corners, you can just see the front end bouncing when it goes through the corner.
Yeah, you know, we talked about the same thing similar to Martinsville. They run just about a spring like you would at Martinsville. Even though it's a mile racetrack, you slow down in the corner and they run pretty soft chassis up under these cars.
Bernard's going to try the outside. Ooh, he is out there.
Yeah, if he's got a pushy condition and he gets outside, it's going to get out there further. He's going to try Spencer on the outside.
You know what will happen a lot of times when you have a push condition, you'll run to the center corner and have the wheel set to the left and get back in the throttle and close the back end around, makes it loose off the corner. So it makes it a tough thing to have, you know, stay into it all day.
But he made the pass on Jimmy Spencer. That'll move Earnhardt up to 9th place.
You see Spencer right to the side of Spencer. That was a little electric fan. Boy, cool air on him. We said earlier they've had a tremendous amount of heat. Look right to the right, that little white thing. Both of the roll bar, that's an electric fan, a little blower, and just blowing cool air on these drivers. I'm telling you, it's hot out there.
Now, this is one of the 10 days of summer in New Hampshire. It starts the 4th of July, and then don't worry, there'll be winter here in another 3 weeks.
Yeah, but how do we get all 10 days in 2 here? It's been cooking at this place.
Scheduling.
Okay.
Sterling Marlin leads this race at 63 laps. Mark Martin in second. Davey Allison third, all in Ford. Jeff Gordon Chevrolet is fourth. Fifth is Dale Jarrett. Sixth is Ricky Rudd. Seventh is Bobby Labonte. Eighth is Terry Labonte. Ninth is Earnhardt, and 10th is Jimmy Spencer, you're watching right now.
You can tell we came up north because they got snowplow sponsors on a lot of these cars and everything. And hard to, nothing we can do with them down south.
64 laps complete. Sterling Marlin out front. We'll be right back to New Hampshire.
The sign of good things to come. TNN Outdoors, this Saturday and Sunday.
Sterling Marlin, son of Cuckoo Marlin, who himself won a Daytona 500 qualifying race, but never a Winston Cup event. This is Sterling's 264th career start. The most any driver who has won a Cup race started before he got to victory lane. Dave Marcus, 225 starts before he won at Martinsville in 1975.
I got a feeling when Sterling Marlin wins his first race, he's liable to win 6 or 8 in a row. It's just something, you know, once you do it, you get the confidence, and then you can go and do it again.
Bill Elliott did it. He finished second 8 times before he won his first race, and then look where he went. We had a pass for second place. Davey Allison took it away from Mark Martin while we were in commercial. Let's show it to you from our Ray Bestis Brakes helicopter-mounted camera.
Took that inside lane that we've been talking about that's so critical. Get down in the corner, then beat him right up off the corner. And now that he's passed him, but he's starting to reel that leader in.
You know, Neil, we were talking earlier today about Davey. A flat track like Phoenix here, he just excels. For some reason, I guess, learning at Birmingham, you know, and running weekly down there, he's got a knack of saving his tires and getting back on the throttle really smooth, and he flies on the flat track.
Yeah, you know, Richmond, Virginia is a good example. And Birmingham is flat as a pancake, and that's where he did a lot of racing before he moved into this.
Pole sitter Mark Martin looking for his first win of the season. Here's Rusty Wallace moving up on Jimmy Hensley. This is for 11th place. Off in turn 1.
He's just been flicking away at him. He started way back in the rear. And Rusty's really coming on up now.
Lapping past Ken Bouchard from nearby Fitchburg, Mass. First start in a couple of years when Ken's running back on the circuit. His older brother Ron, another former Rookie of the Year, is here today.
Rusty's trying to get back on track. You know, the first of the season, this team right here, the 2-car, was almost unbeatable. They stumped their toe a couple of times, had some problems, got us some big wrecks, and Rusty tells you, we got to get back in stride. I'm telling you, they're working on it, and they're going to be forced to contend with before the season's over again.
Stubbed their toe and went tail over tea kettle a couple of times.
I tell you, they were doing extremely a lot of work making a great pit crew. And that's one thing. When they do stop on the green, he's going to pick up a lot of stops there.
Trying Jimmy Spencer right here. Ford against Pontiac. Down the front straightaway. And they're moving up on Terry Labonte. Look back. Here's your Napa Field standing update brought to you by Napa because there are no unimportant parts.
Boys, we were looking out of the back of Spencer's car as Rusty made the pass. Spencer's car was way out in that gray area. He got really wide when Rusty got under it.
Yeah, he's thinking pit stop right now. You can believe that.
Yeah, one thing that happens at this racetrack in the races that we've seen here is when these cars, of course, will abrade a bit of rubber off the tires. It doesn't go very far. Some tracks it'll go way up to the wall and set up there like at Dover, some of the places we've been. Here in New Hampshire, you can get just the least little bit out of the groove, and there'll be all kinds of little rubber debris up there.
Well, Mike, that's exactly right. While you're talking about this, the leader, I was noticing this. Some of these lap cars have really held him. Look at Davey behind him now. He's been held up about 2 laps in a row with a couple of these cars. And Davey Allison really wound him in here. That's just the last 2 laps.
Jeff Burton trying to stay on the lead lap, but Marlin will get under him. Here's Davey Allison, the second-place car, a winner at Richmond and a runner-up at Martinsville this year. 3rd at Dover, last time we were on a mile.
Now the key is, since the 8 car got under him, can Davey get up there and take advantage of that inside line also before he gets trapped behind these lap cars?
Well, guys, they're all getting ready to make pit stops down here. I'm in Mark Martin's pit right now. They're getting ready. Kyle Petty, the 8 car. Most of them are figuring around lap 75. But the one exception to that is car number 11 of Bill Elliott. He hasn't been in the top 15 all day. Hasn't been a factor up front. Virginia Johnson told me they could run 95 laps. That's 20 laps longer than the other teams are figuring. We hear Jimmy Spencer is in now. Also, keep an eye out on Davey Allison when he pits. There's a lot of noise coming from his car. Looks like it's misfiring in the corner. Could just be an exhaust leak. So we see some flames coming out the exhaust pipe when he enters turn 1.
Working on Spencer's car. Now he will likely lose a lap pitting under green here.
I can tell you, Davey Allison's car is misfiring. It's misfiring in the right direction because he's flying right up on the back of Sterling Marlin. What it might be is a pinhole in the intake there, and you're shooting cold air in on the exhaust, and it does fire out like that.
Davey drops under Wally Dolleback in the Keystone Bears car. Dolleback going the lap down. Jeff Bodine is on pit road, so is Joe Nemechek and Kenny Wallace. 2 caution flags early. We've been green all the rest of the way, so pit stops under the green.
Here's Mark Martin in that same traffic that the 2 lead cars had to work around. Slows you down to have to take that outside lane around these guys.
Dolleback will pit, so Jeff Burton goes on past him, but he's now dropped 1 lap.
This one is nice, Mike. You know, you got that 6 car out there wondering how far I can go, and his team car just pitted. They can get a good fuel mileage reading for them. Use it as an advantage whenever that 6 car decides to pit.
Jimmy Spencer's going to get a black flag, stop-and-go penalty. Too fast down pit road.
Oh, man. That's a bad penalty here. No, I'll rephrase that. That's a bad penalty anywhere. But especially on a flat track. You can't make up the laps like you can on the bank track.
Sterling Marlin up front, just ahead there of Hud Strickland in the McDonald's Ford. Greg Sachs making a pit stop. Country Time Lemonade car. Brett Bodine is in, Wally Dolleback as well.
It looks like when they break that traffic, the 8 car is able to get back away just a little bit. Sterling's team has really been coming around the last month. In all these races, the last 3 or 4 races, they've really worked their way up to contention right in the front of the field in all of them.
He had a good run at Daytona, had a really stout run up at Michigan.
You know, it's good to see the Strobolas come back and get a race car that's running like this because they had Bobby Allison, they had a great race team, and then it kind of fell apart, and now they're back up in the front where they belong.
Brett Bodine, we see him coming out against. We saw Spencer go in to take that penalty that we're going to give him. These lead guys here, it's going to be critical when they come in. We're looking at lap 80 now. They said 75. That's being real cautious. I'm sure with a different facility, and they don't know that mileage yet, but some of them are going to stretch it. There's Rusty Wallace in.
4 tire changes on almost all of these cars.
This should be some of the quickest pit action you see all day. This team is tough.
I'll tell you guys, talking about that pit road speed, it was just a few laps ago that Buddy Parrott told Rusty, watch your speed. They had a little discussion of what they're going to do, 2 tires, 4 tires. They took out 4, made absolutely no adjustments. Prior to him coming in, he was flipping off the leader speed, so Rusty was one of the quickest cars on the track, so they're looking pretty good.
17.8 seconds, Randy, for 4 tires.
Not only quick on the track, but that's steamy in the pits, isn't it, buddy?
That was real fast, but, you know, he qualified bad, and he had to get a pit stop way up at the front part of the loop. As far as I'm concerned, that's a big disadvantage to have a pit way up near the entrance to pit road.
The Rebessis breaks forward. Bobby Allison, or rather of the Cibola Brothers team. That'll be Sterling Marlin and Mark Martin. idling down pit road with the mandated speed limit. Kyle Petty is in. Green flag stop for the Stavola Brothers crew.
This will give us an idea. We just saw Rusty Wallace's his four-tire stop in 16-something seconds, 17. Excuse me. We'll see what this stop will be for 4 tires.
Keystone Light pit clock is in, upper right of your screen.
The girl in the chair there, she's taking all the laps, making sure how many laps to go. And it's real important when they start getting fuel mileage from here on.
Boy, he had to back out of there, buddy, after he got the tires changed. He lost some time, but he still had to back up also to get out of there.
Lost 4 seconds compared to Rusty Wallace on the pit stop with Sterling Marlin.
Absolutely no adjustments that I saw. Plus, the right-hand side of Davy's car. He's out of the way. A great pit stop for the Allison team also.
Dale Earnhardt is in. Ernie Irvin, Bill Elliott making pit stops under the green. See Danny Meyer just throw that gas can across the wall. Once it's empty.
He could throw that car across the wall if he wanted to.
Well, we had a call. The 24 car wanted to come into the pits. He slowed down to come in and got blocked out by another car, so it really cost him. Now he's going to come in this lap. Got a lug nut or something.
Left side, yep.
Something's hung up in it. It's either hung in gear.
That's costly for Earnhardt. 36 seconds. Earnhardt is stopped in the pit. Here is Jeff Gordon. You're riding with him as he comes to pit road, watching that tack very carefully so he doesn't exceed the speed limit.
That's an eternity going down through there that slow. Look at Jeff Gordon. You know, he just has to be going, if I could just go a little faster.
Yeah, boy, he's reading that tachometer coming in and obeying that speed limit.
Left side lug nuts being loosened up as the right side tire change is completed. They'll come around, pop the left side in the air, yank those tires off, and put on 2 more.
Evernham and all that crew there have done a super job. They've been flying on the pit stop several times in Daytona. They come in 6th, go out in 1st.
Good effort, 20.7 seconds.
I tell you what was a bad thing for us to do was see Rusty Wallace first and engage everybody else. Their team is so quick, it makes everybody else look slow.
Randy?
Well, Dale Jarrett is in. Second the points, was leading on the racetrack when he came in. Left side tires are off. Right side's already been changed. I have not seen one chassis adjustment. Our car's down on the way. This trick crew is getting much, much better as well.
Isn't that kind of odd that we have not seen chassis adjustments, just tire changes?
I'll tell you, I think that's what they think they're doing. I think they're chasing the racetrack and almost afraid to make big changes. You know, they're just letting the driver get used to the track.
They just about cannot do anything but do that and get back out on the racetrack under the green flag. Now, if they had the yellow, they'd work on it.
Bobby Labonte makes his stop. So does Bobby Hillen as green flag stops continue here at New Hampshire International. We'll be right back. Welcome back to New Hampshire International. Look at the right front of Jeff Burton's car. It is not turning. After he turned it into the wall up in turn number 3. Many people thought he might have a top 10 day today with his flat track experience in the Busch Series, but he's gone up and into the fence and now to the garage area. He brings out the 3rd caution flag of the day at lap number 90. As they raced back to the flag, Davey Allison beat Ernie Irvin to the flag. Lake Speed took Davey all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack so he could stay on the lead lap. Irvin was not quite as lucky. The Kodak car is now a lap down to Davey Allison, the race leader. Sterling Marlin is 2nd according to our unofficial rundown. Mark Martin is 3rd. Mike Waltrip in 4th, and Darrell Waltrip may well be back on the lead lap as the rest of the cars on the lead lap pitted. Waltrip stayed out because he pitted earlier, remember, with a chassis problem after going a lap down, so he's back on the lead lap, and now he'll pick up the tail end of the line. Bill Elliott also making a stop here under caution.
You know, Junior Johnson with Elliott said they were going to go a long run. If they had, they would have put the whole field a lap down just about, but they pitted right when the other leaders did.
This speedway was a big gamble for Bob Baer. He built it without hope of a date from any major sanctioning body. But he's a self-made man. He's been in this position before. Here's Ken Squire.
This is Bob Baer's contribution to speed in action. New Hampshire International Speedway. He's done it all himself. Signed the notes, paid the bills. His Yankee ingenuity first appeared in the midgets. The Baer off, he won all with the likes of men like Bill Airborne Eldridge. Didn't have a high school diploma, but that didn't stop him from owning a bank, shopping centers, housing developments, and a way of life that a Dairy family farm kid could hardly imagine. Hannibal Hamlin's house, vice president under Abe Lincoln, South Paris, Maine. That's his home today. And here, behind the gruff exterior, that love of speed in action, is his passion, his classics. Duesenbergs, Packards, Mercedes. They're called one-offs, single editions, originals. A lot like the man that now owns them, Bob Baer.
Looks just like your garage at home, Neil, huh?
I got a pickup truck. Mine's not that shiny.
One pickup truck.
Yeah. What a collection, I tell you.
This was the Old Briar Motorsports Park. They've been running motorcycle races here, the annual Loudon Classic, for more than 40 years here and in the streets of the nearby town of here and earlier Laconia. They've had Trans Am sports car racing here, stock cars and drag racing on the old facility. Bob Baer bought it, refurbished it. He knew the fans would support it. Now he's got Indy cars, Winston Cup, Busch Grand National Racing. Still has SCCA motorcycle events.
I tell you what, just like those classic cars, this racetrack is pretty shiny itself. And what a facility built.
5 different race leaders so far, 7 lead changes, average speed just over 100 miles an hour. We're working the 3rd caution, and we're getting ready to go back to green here. Only Ken Schrader and Phil Parsons in the garage, though they've now been joined by Jeff Burton's car. On the restart, Davey Allison will be on the point. Remember, all these cars just made pit stops prior to the caution. Sterling Marlin is 2nd. Mark Martin is 3rd. Jeff Gordon is 4th. 5th is Dale Jarrett. 6th is Rusty Wallace. 7th is Kyle Petty. 8th is Ricky Rudd. Joe Nemechek is 9th. Bobby Labonte's in the 10th spot. 11th, Jimmy Hensley. 12th, Terry Labonte. 13th is Rick Wilson. 14th is Mike Waltrip. And 15th, Blake Speed. Bill Elliott, Darrell Waltrip, Brett Bodine, and Jeff Bodine are also all on the lead lap. And there's about a dozen cars 1 lap down, including Irvin and Earnhardt.
Yeah, right on the inside line, right there, the 55 car. Right on the inside, got a shot to get a lap back right up beside Davey Allison.
It's Ted Musgrave in the U.S. Air Jasper Engines Ford, and we are back to green. Musgrave's going to try it. He's going to get it. He's back on the lead lap now. Allison has to look left for Earnhardt. Finds him. Here comes Marlin for the lead. Look at all the momentum Davey Allison lost after that brush and slide with Earnhardt.
Back here. Looks like a bulldog took a bite out of it.
If I can stack his quarter pound up, we didn't mess up the rear spoiler.
See if we can see it from inside Jeff Gordon's car, and Allison's car just gets sideways again. He hauls it back in, but he has lost quite a few positions from the lead.
We see the 18 car right there under Davey Allison. Jarrett trying to get under him also.
You see Rusty Wallace moved up there quite a bit on the stop.
Dale Jarrett to the inside of Allison. Sterling Marlin is again the race leader. Mark Martin now 2nd.
This car, Rusty Wallace, is really hooked up. He's going by Davey Allison. No problem whatsoever.
NASCAR officials issued a reprimand down to the pits of Earnhardt, telling car owner Richard Childress any more contact, they will deal with it. Let's have a look again at what happened as Allison, the race leader, Earnhardt on the inside, trying to get a lap back.
The 55 car took that inside line, 28 out there. Earnhardt goes in there and gets right up in the left rear of Allison. 8 also got him in the rear when it got him out of shape there.
Looked like the front end on Earnhardt's car might have broke loose a little bit there, Neil.
Sure got in that quarter right there, and it looked like the 8 might have tagged him a little bit also. Got Davey out of stride, showed him out outside lane. He lost a lot of positions.
Allison currently 5th. Check that. Make that 5th, 6th, 7th.
Well, guys, on the Davey Allison car, why he slowed up, they're really concerned about the car. They're not quite sure what it was. They thought they had a lot of buildup on the right-hand side tires. Davey was a little concerned that he might lose the car going in after the restart. He slowed down, then he thought he had a flat. Now he's saying he's got something loose on the car. So Davey doesn't quite know what's wrong with it, but they're going to try and ride it out a little bit, get a little feel for it. If they have to come in, they will.
Again, Neil, that top groove down in 1 and 2, the rubber kind of sits up there. After you've been running down on the bottom, it's real easy to find the marbles here. You don't have to step too far out of the groove to get there.
When they talk about build-up, these guys had just pitted prior to that caution 2 or 3 laps. They got heat in their tires. The caution came out. They didn't want to pit again, so in turn, it really stuck a lot of that build-up on those tires. It'll take a lap or 2 to get them cleaned off, and that's what he was questioning. He just didn't have the feel he wanted with the car at that time.
There's the factory stores for it of Dick Trickle, 75. Allison works the outside, trying to move back up on Rusty Wallace.
That was the point I was trying to make a while ago. On a restart like that, if you don't clean your tires really well, everybody said, well, Earnhardt's will turn into it. And that's not necessarily so, because you can have all that buildup on the tire, and it goes in here. It's just like hitting sand in the driveway. You just skate right across the racetrack.
Oh, look at the inside. It looked like he got a pretty good shot in that left rear housing of the car. And right here we can see that there's no riding left on the left rear tire. I was trying to see if you could tell for sure it hit the body work. I was concerned about damage to the rear end housing. It's hard to tell right now.
The other thing about the left side of these cars is you see how much clearance they leave between the tire and the fender. As opposed to a Daytona or a Talladega car, you leave a lot of open space there for just that reason.
Yeah, at Daytona and Talladega, they look like airplanes. The fenders miss the tires by a 1/16 of an inch. They come here, look like they took a torch and cut it off just to get it out of the way.
Jeff Gordon in second place ahead of Mark Martin. Gordon has not won a Busch race here. Finished up in the top 5, however, in his best effort. But not yet a victory on this racetrack. It looks like he is moving away from Mark Martin.
Yeah, it seemed like once the race started, his car settled down. His cars were getting better and better as the day went on. And just like Buddy said, he's not snatching that wheel around as he did earlier.
Well, he's getting smooth, and this kid has such a great driving rhythm. When he gets into it, he is just like in Charlotte, Daytona twice. I mean, once he gets there, he don't give it up. He really drives that race car well all day.
Look at Dale Jarrett. He just went around the 6th car also. Car Jarrett's is really working today.
Well, you look at the left rear of Jarrett's car as we watch the Ford telemetry on board Mark Martin. Used to be, Buddy, you guys would go to Darlington to get the Darlington stripe on the outside right rear corner, the left rear on the inside. Every one of these cars has got some kind of bang on it, it seems.
Well, there's a lot of racetrack there that we don't use here. If you notice, about the last 15 feet of this racetrack, nobody's been up there.
Right. Davey Allison ahead of Mark Martin, moving up on Rusty Wallace. On our 800 number, Carol from New Hampshire couldn't get tickets for today. She wondered if Loudon's on the Winston Cup schedule for next year. Yes, Bill France, the pre-race, announced that he was proud to be associated with the Bear family in this great facility and hopes to be back here for many years to come.
Okay, I'm going to explain that to you, too. Mike Joy bought half the grandstand for his friends up here.
Yeah, it feels like it. My wallet's lighter for the result. Everybody in New England wanted tickets for this race. Here's Earnhardt again, trying to get back on the lead lap. Sterling Marlin trying to cut him 1 lap down. Tight battle down the front straightaway.
He's trying to do it the old-fashioned way, too. He's going to try to earn it on the outside there.
Sterling's car went to the front earlier. He's in the lead now. Looks like he easily put Earnhardt back down. Looks like Sterling's hit somebody with the nose of his car. Since we saw it earlier, got a little bit of damage right on the frontal area of his car, but not enough to hurt it, doesn't look like.
One thing you show you here, 3 and 4 is a little different from 1 and 2 as they come off turn number 4 here. But you go down into turn number 1, and it's almost, it drives like a straightaway, like the corner square between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Come down here, and then all of a sudden there's this little straight squirt, and then you're turning left again to come off the corner. 3 and 4 looks very, very different. Neil, like it's almost like it's more of a rounded corner than a square corner.
Yeah, it's got a good arc all the way through 3 and 4. Like you say, down to 1, you get in and you think you've got the turn made, and you get back in the throttle, then you got to turn again. So it really works the guys from the middle of the 1 right up off the 2nd corner back there. There's a lot of difference in these 2 ends of these racetracks, and you just try to hit a happy medium, get through both ends as well as you can. You might give up a little on one end.
Neil, most of the cars get in on the back. The guys that come out of from the center to the back straightaway or front straightaway that really make the time here. You see Sterling's a little sideways off that corner there.
At New Hampshire International, we're 105 laps complete. Close encounters, I'll tell you. Welcome back to New Hampshire. Mike Joy with Neil Bonnet and Buddy Baker. 108 laps on the board. Sun-baked round. It looks like the Daytona Beach grandstand here. Here's our Cincinnati Electronics infrared camera. See the temperature of the racetrack still in that green zone where it was. Real easy to pick out the groove where they're running, especially where those right side tires put a lot of heat into the racetrack. That camera measures heat, not light.
Yeah, and there's a lot more heat on the left side of the car simply because on a track that's flat like this, where the car rolls over in the corner, they put both exhausts out the left side of the car. And that way you're throwing all the exhaust temperature out the left side. The body rolls over and will hit the pipe on the right side, so this you move them both to the left side.
And as the sun bakes down on this racetrack, we expect the track surface to be up a bit in that yellow zone as we get a little further through this day. There's your race leader, Sterling Marlin. He's punted somebody with the nose of that Thunderbird in these first 100 laps. Hard to avoid contact. Avoid contact if you want to keep your contract. I called Gordon Johncock.
Okay, what I'm going to tell you, if he keeps running like this, you talk about a contract, he's going to have one to talk about.
31.5 seconds last lap. Moves up on Dave Marcus.
Seymour with a big difference with his race car. Most guys have to be right in the bottom to run good. If he gets shoved just like right then on the outside, he still makes a strong run off the corner. Bottom, top, he's got it working anywhere he wants to right now.
Peggy from California calls in, Neil, and they had a press conference the other day. She wants to know whose car or what car you're going to run at Talladega.
Going to run one of Earnhardt's cars. The Childress team is going to take a second car to Talladega. We'll be down here with that. I'm looking forward to it.
Now, do you get the car you tested or the car that Dale won Daytona in?
It'll be a different car. The one he won with in Firecracker, he'll run it, and the other one, but I mean, they're identical. There's not very much difference.
So do I guarantee you, Neil. One thing good about that deal, when you mash that button on the right side with your right foot,
it's going to jump.
You can get about 80% of them handled.
Handling up the straightaway.
Second place is about to be a battle. There's Jeff Gordon and Dale Jarrett moving in.
We should have saw this coming. Jarrett has been qualifying way in the rear of the field all the time and then coming to the front. He had a good qualifying run this week, and his car is really working. Jarrett's right there in second place in the points. Earnhardt's a lap down, so this is a good chance for him to pick up some valuable points.
Rick called in from New York, wondered why this is only a 300-lap race when most of the others are more. And, Rick, that's part of the negotiation between the track and NASCAR when they set the sanction for the event. And I believe it's part of a trend by NASCAR as they add tracks and add races to go to somewhat shorter distance events. Fans still get to see a lot of great racing. It fits into a television time slot a little better. And doesn't take up the whole day for folks that need to travel a greater distance coming or going.
I think that's the key. I think we've got to start catering to the fans a little bit more. You know, how can you tell them you're going to leave a track at 10 o'clock at night and be at work on Monday morning? So I think you're going to start catering to these fans a little more, let them get out of the traffic, get on back home, and then, go to work on Monday mornings.
Some 24 million people live within just a couple hours ride of this racetrack. It appears as of today there just aren't enough seats here to hold all that want to be here.
All week long, every radio station I heard it said, please do not come out Sunday. We're out of tickets. It's very rare you hear a track advertising to stay away, but I mean, they were sold out. The first day they opened up ticket sales, they were gone.
Bill Elliott battling Rick Wilson, the STP Pontiac. Elliott moves along up a spot. 15th, make that 14th position for Bill.
Boy, this is a team you just keep waiting to say, what is it going to take to get these guys up front? You can't help but think it's going to happen. The team is just too strong. They got too much material there. Bill's an excellent driver, and you just keep waiting for that team to get up front. It's going to happen. There's just too many good people involved.
Neil, Dave from South Carolina wants to know what number is going to be on your car.
31. We're running 31 that top, baby.
A 3+1. Car number 3+1.
That's it.
Davey Allison, Rusty Wallace moving up on the second place battle. Now they are 2.1 seconds behind Sterling Marlin on the point. The battle for seconds about to have 4 cars in it.
You're right. And a while ago when Davey had that contact with Earnhardt, when Earnhardt got in the rear and shoved him out a little bit there, Davey questioned the car, and now he's feeling it again, and it's coming back. The car came from way back in the field earlier to the front. It looks like he's ready to do it again.
Neil, don't you think when he got sideways, he heated that right rear tire up and he felt that thing in the next corner, and it made it sideways again when he made another contact with the other car, and he just was questioning in his mind, maybe I cut a tire down.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You got to read that, make sure it's not having a problem. And 18 is not having a problem. No. He just went right around Gordon.
They're shuffling it up. Dale Jarrett has gone to second.
There you look at the second place car from inside third place Jeff Gordon's machine.
We just saw Rusty Wallace right in the middle of that thing. He's sitting there in about fourth place. And I can't help but think back to that pit stop. We saw it on the stopwatch, how critical that was. And after this thing shakes out, he's right up front.
That second or two gained on pit road, that's a lot of distance on the racetrack when you go around here in 30 seconds.
Oh, listen. Half a car length to lap of the
We got a lot of questions, buddy, about Richard Petty last week at Daytona, why he didn't get in Kyle's car. And we don't have the exact answer, although we're not sure if Richard got a NASCAR driver's license for this year in the physical, but we know he does bring his helmet and his suit to every racetrack. However, he did not practice a car for that race, and that's one of NASCAR's rules, is you must drive during practice to be eligible for a elite driver.
Yeah, but he really wanted to get back in there. You know, he didn't want Kyle's car to just fall out.
That, or maybe they asked Linda Petty. I'm not sure. Would have been great. Bill Elliott, Brett Bodine, Kenny Bernstein, Quaker State Ford running at it here.
Well, he's trying to work his way up. He's having some problems every time he get up front again.
And Joe Nemechek comes to pit road as this action goes on. And Bodine will move outside and get the spot. He was really happy to come up here. Brett Bodine was. For all the folks that had watched him run modifieds up here in New England, get a chance to say, hey, you know, I guess it'd be like going back to your high school reunion and being able to bring the whole office with you and say, here's what I do for a living. Dick Trickle goes to meet the flagman outside the fence at turn 2. He's punched it pretty good against the wall there. And we will get a caution. This comes at lap 123. It's the 4th caution flag of the day. Dick Trickle and the Bob Rahilly and Butch Mock Factory Stores Ford. We'll be right back to New Hampshire after this. Well, you can ride up Mount Washington. The noise you'll hear, that gear noise, that's the cog that this steam engine drives. The cog, it's a gear drive down in the track, so that doesn't slip and you don't go sliding down the mountain in a hurry. Great way to go to the top of Mount Washington here. You can also drive up Mount Washington, but not in this car, I don't think.
That cog you hear there is something broken. That Trickle got him to push him off during the caution and got it restarted. But there's a lot of heat coming out right through the air cleaner opening on the top. And some other problem other than hitting that wall.
That's midway down the backstretch. You see where the road course goes to the outside of the track here at New Hampshire. Dick Trickle getting a little assistance as pit stops continue. Cars a lap or more down making their stops this time around. We'll reset the field for you when we come back to the nation's newest super speedway, Loudon, New Hampshire, and the Slick 5300 live on the Nashville Network. Exclusive coverage of the Slick 5300 on the Nashville Network is brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? You see the results here of 4 hard years of work, a lot of years of planning and dreaming. This was the field in Bob Baer's dreams, a major super speedway complex for his native New England. But stymied by the permit process in trying to build anew, Baer purchased the aging Breyer Motorsports Park in Loudon, New Hampshire, a multi-use facility that had played host to stock cars, sports cars, and motorcycle racing. Then Baer dug deep in his own pocket, $25 million deep, to build tunnels, pour concrete, grade dirt, and pave asphalt. And when he had built it, he pondered, would they come?
Well, I don't know. Like I said, we'd like to have a cup date and we'd like to get a kart date, but right now we haven't got anything, and I think when we get it done and people see it, we might have a better shot at getting something then.
He's got it all. He's got a grandstand full of race fans. He knew they would come, and now so too of all the major sanctioning bodies. Green flag as you watch it from our Ray Vestas Brakes aerial camera, and leading them down to turn number 1. That's Sterling Marlin. And a determined, concentrating Rusty Wallace. In tow, Earnhardt gets underneath Wallace. He's the second car in line. again trying to get back on the lead lap.
Boy, Rusty started way back in his field, 33rd place, and this second right there behind Earnhardt. We got the 8-car leading Earnhardt a lap down, and the 2-car in second place.
Earnhardt slides up into Sterling Marlin, fighting to get his lap back.
Just say it at one time. That looked like casual contact to me there.
Might have just touched again. The tail wags on Marlin's car. Earnhardt's under him in the back straightaway. Turn 3.
Marlin's holding that line out there. He's not giving anything up. This might be an opportunity for Rusty Wallace in the 2-car. Get in under the 3 and try to get in there for the lead.
Ted Musgrave went up and off the wall.
Oh, and he's having such a good run, too.
And Earnhardt and Marlin might have got together again there just a bit.
There's Rusty coming to the inside. That was that opportunity we were talking about. And there's the 12-car looking 3 down. Rusty had his hand out the window.
Was he signaling Spencer?
I couldn't tell what that was about. He stuck his hand out the window going down in the 3rd turn there.
Jimmy Spencer moves underneath Rusty Wallace. Spencer is trying to get back on the lead lap here.
Boy, these guys are fighting for that lap. There's Spencer trying to get up under Rusty Wallace. Rusty would like to have that inside line and try to work on that leader.
You just saw what Buddy was talking about. Rusty just didn't have the steam off from the middle of the corner on out to hold Jimmy Spencer that time.
Yeah, we have radio communication with Rusty Wallace. We tried to get him under the caution here. He said, not now, folks. I'm concentrating. So we'll talk to him a little later on today.
And that's just the way he's really dedicated, gets focused on what he's doing. And sometimes he just wants to concentrate with that race car. That's exactly what he's doing now.
Lake Speed has taken the Curex score. As we reach the 130 lap point. Look back at Wallace from Jimmy Spencer's car. The tail, or rather trying to get back on the tail end of the lead lap. There's Davey Allison peeking out around the outside of Wallace. 2nd and 3rd position.
Rusty's all the way off the track on that flat part down there, but he got the left wheel hung over.
Yeah, and Davey had a lot better restart that time. I think he cleaned his tires a little bit better, and he's on the move now. It looks like his car is dialed in. He may just get by the 2-car. He's getting off the camera a little bit faster, or has been. The minute I said that, he got the full car.
Now, Earnhardt got his lap back, but he has not shaken Sterling Marlin. It's still right bumper to bumper with the 3-car.
Unless they've made some chassis adjustments to really help Earnhardt's car. He was able to get behind him after 4 or 5 laps. Here's Davey. He's trying the 2-car.
There's your leader, Marlin, the blue and white, number 8 Ford. Ray Vesta's car. Going to track Earnhardt for a while. There's Wallace and Davey Allison. 2nd and 3rd. Back straightaway heading for 3.
Well, Davis' car makes a good move right in that part of the track. Rolls through the middle of the corner really good. There's that Jarrett car. I'm telling you, every time we look up, he's coming. That thing of his has really been working good. Dale Jarrett's whole team is really jailed. I'm telling you, they're right in that points battle. They're going to be tough to deal with.
One thing about Rick Hendricks, when he builds motors for other people, they're just as good as him motors in his own cars. And happy birthday, Rick. I know it's your birthday tomorrow.
Guys, what do you do if you're Sterling Marlin? You'd love to keep Earnhardt a lap down. But to get up there and battle side by side with him is what you gain, worth what could happen.
I think he'll look, I think the 8-car's got to look at the fact that he's pulling away from these other guys. He's going to wait for the right opportunity. I think he's going to have to take that inside lane to get around the 3-car. I don't think Earnhardt's going to give him that thing. He's going to have to make him move on the inside. I think the 8-car's going to have to work the inside to be able to put Earnhardt back down.
I think the 8-car has a better handling car, though. He'll just wait a little while. There's Spencer up high, and he's been racing with Rusty Wallace. I think he went in the corner a little bit too hard and got up high.
Up in the marbles. Jimmy Hensley going by.
See him shaking the wheel. He's trying to clean those tires like you were talking about, buddy. He got up in those marbles. He's trying to see what's wrong with that thing. Saw on that old...
And it's Earnhardt.
3-car spun coming off. That's off turn 2 over there.
Well, the crowd is on their feet. This whole front grandstand came to their feet.
wasn't done. Earnhardt's back up to a song now.
No caution, so they're still running.
We stay green. He spun to the inside of the back straightaway and came back up on the racetrack, but he is no longer a concern to Sterling Marlin.
Well, I saw some fire under the car.
Let's have a look at what happened.
That's coming up off turn 2 over there.
Whoops, just a little bit of help, it looked like.
A car was going to get that inside line. Earnhardt turned around right there in the middle of the track. It's lucky they didn't get hit.
Some laps you eat the bear, and some laps
the bear gets you.
Look at this line of traffic coming behind them. Good job by these guys running 3rd, 4th, and 5th back here. Boy, Rusty, right through the smoke, didn't have any idea where he was
How
going.
much do you think these guys can see with all this dust and tire smoke?
not much. Now there's Earnhardt outside Jimmy Spencer. Now this is for position. Both these cars are 1 lap back, and they're racing for 20th place now. Look at that left front bumper on cover on Earnhardt's car.
When the cars spun backwards, it looked like they might have snatched the brake ducts and stuff loose on that left front as it got backwards. I think some of that's rubbing right there. Spencer had trouble just a little early, almost got up in the wall himself.
Still running just as hard as they were.
A little smoke coming off the left front of Earnhardt's car. It must be rubbing where that stuff broke loose.
Yeah, you're right. You can see a little piece of metal hanging off the left front corner there.
Yeah, there's the brake duct. All the internal works of that thing's missing.
Spencer going a little wide there again. He comes off the corner. Earnhardt trying to keep it down low.
What people don't realize is when you turn one of these things around backwards, everything on these cars are designed like a bullet going forward. When you turn around, you don't have to hit. There's Earnhardt way outside going down in the corner.
And here comes traffic.
Must have a tire going down. They'll have to come in and get that fixed. But as you turn around backwards, the air actually snatches that stuff off the car, going in the wrong direction.
Well, guys, the crew is actually awaiting his arrival. He's coming down pit road right in the next lap. They watch his car go by every time. Earnhardt said that I think the brakes are gone. So that's what's causing him to back up. He might have had some brake duct work, come loose a little bit. So they're going to have to bring him in under green because Dale cannot slow down in the corner. So big time trouble for Earnhardt today.
He had a tough day yesterday, Randy, in the Busch North race here, as we saw. Burned up a couple of right fronts going off into the corner and finally parked the car. A bit of damage to it.
You know, if he's saying he doesn't have any brake, there's a chance to let the metal work snatch the line off the car, off one of the brake lines on the left front. But he doesn't have any brakes. He's not going to be able to run around this place very long.
Kenny Schrader's back in the race, 127 laps behind. Took a lap or two and then headed to the garage once again.
You know, I think you're exactly right. No brakes. Taking this wide line in the corner. You don't want to get behind anybody. And at the end of the straightaway, you see him back off about 4 or 5 car lengths for anybody else there.
Yeah, they're picking up the radio contact back and forth between him and the crew, and they're saying no brakes on the car, so he's just going to have to hope nothing happens in front of him.
Oh, look at Terry Labonte got into the back of something.
That could have possibly been that dust and stuff. When it stacked up on the back straightaway, some of them lived. He might have ran and got into him. I didn't see that damage before that happened. Trying to see the back of somebody who looked like it might have patched up.
Something that the other piece to the puzzle, right? Davey Allison closing in on race leader Sterling Marlin as we come up on 150 laps, halfway, 5 laps from now at New Hampshire. Welcome back to New Hampshire International Speedway. They've just taken the halfway sign. It's Slick 5300. Sterling Marlin trying to win his first Winston Cup race at New England's first Winston Cup race. Now, the Grand National Tour did a northern swing, 1964 to 67. They went to Old Bridge, New Jersey, Bridgehampton, New York, up to Fonda, New York, and Islip Thompson, Connecticut. Since Winston started with the series and took on the name Winston Cup, there has not been a race in New England. This is the first. Jeff Gordon being overhauled on the inside by Mark Martin.
We saw Mark drive under him in the corner there. Gordon, we see him working that wheel a little bit like he did the first of the race. Car might have got away from him just a little bit, changed on him some.
Only one pit stop so far. The next should be coming in about 10 to 15 laps for the race leader. There's Mark Martin. As you look from the windshield post on the Valvoline Ford, that latch at the top of the screen holds the window net in.
word at the 24 and 8, they took a round of bite out of the car. So the track must be getting tighter and tighter. We see him working that wheel a little bit more. He's anticipating that took some bite out of it, maybe not enough.
One of our phone-in questions on the 800 number is in a lot of road race cars, you can adjust the chassis to push or lose condition from inside the car. Will we ever see that again in NASCAR racing?
No, and I hope not. Boy, that would be a disaster for me when I was driving.
Well, guys, you were talking about Jeff Gordon falling back a little bit. They took one round of bite out of the car, as you said, it was a little tight. Now they got another problem. Jeff just radioed in, said they're having problems with the brakes. The brakes are fading on the car, going away, so he's going to be dropping back a little bit. If you get on the brakes real hard going into these corners, it's going to be hard to cool those things. Maybe he can just back off for a few laps, and they'll come back, but that's a serious problem. Probably something he'll have to contend with the rest of the day.
Davey Allison trying the inside as we give you our Napa field standing update because there are no unimportant parts. Napa, Davey Allison looking for Sterling Marlin's lead position.
Looked like he had that inside line. He lifted a little bit. Sterling came down. Allison's been reeling him in, but look at the 2 car. He's sitting there right there with him. Talking about braking being a big factor. Rusty Wallace's team really works on that braking stuff. Henske's involvement in road racing. He could be in good shape.
Rusty does very well at Martinsville, and everybody keeps comparing this racetrack to Martinsville. It's Martinsville plus about 100 miles an hour where you start using the brakes. So it's really important to be able to save the brakes and have all the stuff that this car has.
Before you call it an ass, the last Winston Cup race in New England, when it was called the Grand National Series, Bobby Isaac won it en route to the championship in 1970. I think 5/8 mile was the site.
Yeah, but you're the only guy in the booth that's won a race here.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Also the only guy in the booth who's hit the wall here. Let's see, right about there.
That goes along with it, Mike.
And there. And a couple places up and outside the road course.
Boy, we saw Allison moving there and got the nose up around the 8. I thought he could come right back. But sometimes you make that run and you just got to settle everything back down, get the car under you, get that feel back, and then make that run again. I think that's what Dave's getting ready to do.
Following Sterling Marlin, into turn 1. 5 over 57 laps.
It's like Davey's car is able to run through the middle of the corner, just a little bit lower than the 8 car. Roll free right in the middle. But get in there now. Watch, you'll make that little close right there. Try to make the run up off the corner on him. The long run there. Seems to be better down in 1 and 2, Mike. He seems to be able to make a lot of room, a lot of distance up in 1 and 2, and he loses some down in 3 and 4.
Well, here he comes out and around way off the pace, either brakeless or without braking effectiveness right now.
Out of the way, very uncomfortable, I guarantee you.
There's a question from an old-time raceman, Mike from Washington. Why the cars don't have to display their cubic inches on the hood anymore?
Well, they used to do that all the time, but now everybody has the same cubic inches. Used to, you had an option at times, a 427 motor, 366 or whatever, but now everything is 358 cubic inches, and look at the billboards on the hoods. There's not room for numbers anymore.
All right. Buddy, back when you raced and we were still in grade school.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't they used to put the horsepower on the hoods?
Oh, yeah. We told it all. I mean, we didn't have many secrets back then, but as you said, these are running billboards anymore. Look at this Texaco car right here. Where would you put anything on that hood?
Plus, you'd have to have a lie detector test to get these horsepower numbers.
You might be right. 2 Fords and a Pontiac battle for the lead here at New Hampshire International. 160 laps next time by. The inaugural Winston Cup race.
You know, sometimes I've had these engine builders tell me how good the motors were. The hood aren't big enough for the numbers they tell you.
Now Wallace is right back up to the 2 Fords.
We saw a little bit of this yesterday in the Busch Series. As we talked earlier, run a car hard, get them tires hot, you back up some. Looks like the 8 and the 28 really worked hard on each other a while ago. Rusty's winding them in, but here's Davey trying that move off turn 2 again.
Now, as they come out of turn 2, it's quite a gap back to 4th and 5th. Dale Jarrett and Mark Martin, 4th and 5th spots, about half the straightaway. So these three have not exactly checked out, but there is a little bit of distance.
Well, we're getting close to that pit stop. Yeah, I thought they were talking about the next green stop. And guess who has the advantage on that 2 car? Could be tough then.
All right, let's look back to the 4th place car as they come off this corner. There are your 3 leaders, Marlin, Allison, and Wallace. There is Dale Jarrett, and here is Mark Martin. Jarrett is 2.3 seconds behind the lead pack. Moving up on the Western Auto Chevy, Darrell Waltrip, and Wallace is back in caution. Everybody jumps out of the throttle. There is debris on the racetrack.
Boy, it was getting close to that green flag stop. These guys will be glad to do it on the caution.
Somebody dropped something out in turn number 2.
Thought something happened to Rusty Wallace. We saw him fall off. He was the first guy
he pedaled it
to acknowledge that yellow flag.
Well, what happens there, the spotters hear this on their radios, and they call the driver and say, caution, caution, and he backed off the minute he heard that.
So we're under caution. This one comes out at lap 163. It's the 5th caution flag of the day. We'll be back to New Hampshire after this. A word from Davey Allison about what this track might be similar to on the circuit.
Well, it's got a lot of similar characteristics to both places. Martinsville got long straightaways and tight corners. This place has long straightaways and tight corners. Phoenix is a 1-mile track and it's flat. This is a 1-mile track and it's flat. So there are a lot of similarities between the two. Who knows what's going to happen here this weekend. Maybe we'll get it figured out good enough to win the race, and maybe we won't, but it's going to be a lot of fun anyways.
Pit road's a busy place as you ride with Jimmy Spencer, pitting right behind Ernie Irvin. Wipe of the windshield. A little soap and ammonia there. You felt the right side come down off the jack. Both those cars going up in the air. They are battling for position. 1 lap down, back about 18th spot. And Dale Earnhardt will get a penalty, as will Rick Mast. They both pitted too early under caution. When pit road opens, the cars on the lead lap get to pit first, and then a lap later, the cars 1 lap down. So both Earnhardt and Mast will have to restart at the back of the longest line.
I just noticed when Earnhardt come in, his rear wheel's locked up. He has nothing but rear wheel brakes. That's worse than having none at all.
Yeah, you go down the corner, you can see the skid marks. When he came in, it locked the rears and nothing on the front. You go down the corner, hit the brakes, and wants to chatter the rear wheels.
Earnhardt came in here with a 250-point advantage over Dale Jarrett. Now they're going back under the hood. And a look at the master cylinder. Looks like one of the crewmen has a jar of brake fluid there.
They'll probably go back out and try not to lose a lap here and see if they can come back in and pick it up. It looks like they're going to go down a lap anyway.
1 to go. He's going to have to race the pace car down to the end of pit road. The green light is up, but he will not lose another lap. Davey Allison up front. Rusty Wallace, Sterling Marlin. Ricky Rudd got a good pit stop. He's up in the top 5 with Dale Jarrett. The furthest any driver has come to win a Major League Stock Car race. 43rd starting spot. Johnny Mance won the 1950 Southern 500 in a Plymouth. Didn't change tires when everybody else did. He came from 43rd to win it. And Bonnie Flock in 1953 won the Raleigh 300 on a 1-mile speedway. An Oldsmobile.
He might be safe with that record. I don't know if anybody's going to take it away.
I think so. We don't start 43 cars too many places anymore. 5 leaders, 9 lead changes amongst them. Average speed creeping up now, 101.9. Under the 5th caution, 22 caution laps so far. Only 6 cars officially out of this race. Hood goes up and down on Darrell Waltrip's car on pit road. And we'll take you up through the gears with Mark Martin when they come around for the restart.
You see the indication there. It's in 2nd gear, the little yellow light on 2nd. Watch him wind her up. He's in 2nd, 8,300. Well, that thing must have read wrong. That's got to be 3rd gear. I've never seen him shift her from 2nd to 4th, but maybe he pulled her over in 4th gear.
He gets that kind of speed in 2nd gear. I'm going to wonder.
The RPM didn't go up. He might have a problem pulling over at 4th because he didn't get a lot of RPM with it.
When we go down the back straightaway here, you'll see how much they use the up.
Let's go back up front, buddy, for a second, just to watch Davey Allison as he battles Rusty Wallace for the lead. Now, Ernie Irvin is trying to get back on the lead lap. He is in 17th position, 1 lap down.
He's got a good bit of damage to that 4 car, but he's trying to get that lap back.
So he's got a great pit stop in that exchange with Ricky Rudd.
He's up to the top 5.
You see Sterling Marlin back there in 3rd place behind Davey. He was leading. He ended up coming out 3rd after the stop. Rusty Steve got him out front right now.
See the bright yellow car just behind Rudd and Harry Gant there. That's Greg Sachs. He's gone 2 laps down in that Ford. Very, very happy to get up here where all the modified fans that followed him when he drove Ernie Wilsberg's car. So many victories up around here. Give him a chance to run a Winston Cup car in front of the folks that followed him through his career. Sachs running 2 laps down right now in the country time car. 27th spot. Side by side, there's Jeff Gordon underneath Morgan Shepherd. And Shepherd is a lap down at this point. Gordon pulling up on Dale Jarrett, and Mark Martin is right there as well. That's top 5 spot.
Dale Jarrett's in 5th place.
There's Jeff Gordon.
Martin that wheel. And like we saw him at the first of the race, having to really fight that car right in the middle of the corner.
A couple of big bites out of that wheel right in the middle of the corner.
Pretty good, but he's kind of saw that thing a couple times. It's good, like you said, but he's really cranking the wheel around to the left. Might be a little tighter than he wants it.
Moving up on the outside, and Greg Sachs inside, and Dale Jarrett up on the high side.
If you notice, the racetrack, we have a lot of clouds right now. The racetrack's almost totally dark now, so the cars that were real tight a while ago start loosening up a little bit. Make the racetrack a lot better, and also on the brakes, it'll help these guys who've been having brake trouble when the temperature goes down.
I think I saw 8,400 RPM on Jeff Gordon's tack as he went down into the corner. 100 or so RPM more than Mark Martin showed us on the Ford telemetry.
And 180 on the water. I've seen that too.
Martin following Jeff Gordon up through. Moving up on Dale Jarrett. The report is that Hut Strickland needs a relief driver.
They got Jeff Burton standing by. He's been right there all day. Right there at that lead pack. He's needing to win a race, and Mark's got the car that can do it. He's been wanting all day long to get that car back up running. He had it up there. I can't help but think Mark's running the verge of winning one of these things.
Looking back at Mark from Jeff Gordon's rear roof cam.
Well, that was a classic shot right there. You could see the Ford move up in the middle part of the corner, run right up on Jeff, and hit the straightaway, and the Chevrolet pulled away. There's 2 places they're strong. Watch this thing go out here.
Picks up a little down the stretch. Mark works under Harry Gant. Gant in the Skoll Chevrolet is 1 lap down. He's the 17th place car. Up front, Rusty Wallace. You know, he started off the season with a bang. Win after win, but this is the first race he's led since Dover.
That's hard to believe. You stop and think about that, Mike. They were so strong early, and to go this far, but I mean, it takes something like this to get them back on track also.
There's Harry Gant. Leo Jackson. Skoll Chevrolet.
That car is just like when we see Bill Elliott. That's a car that has to win a race pretty soon. They'll get it all worked out. They're the type of people that never give up.
74 laps, Rusty Wallace, Davey Allison, Sterling Marlin, and Ricky Rudd up in front of this pack. Dale Jarrett in 5th, Jeff Gordon in 6th. 7th is Mark Martin, and Kyle Petty is up to 8th.
I think Jeff Gordon's easy problem as far as the brakes. He's moved right up on the back of Dale Jarrett now, and his car seems to be working just a little bit better than it was before this caution.
Maybe had a little bit of a chance to cool that thing down. And a lot of these cars, sometimes the frontal area, they cover them up with duct tape, thinking they might not need it. He might have had a little bit of that left they could do something with, but like you say, Buddy, he seemed to be better than he was just before the caution came.
Let's go to Jeff Gordon's pit. Here's Glenn.
This is Ray Evernham, and Ray, you told me earlier that he's got a brake problem. They've cooled off now. He's okay now, but the problem still remains.
Yeah, this track's a little harder on brakes than we thought. We brought the same amount of cooling that we normally run, but it looks like we needed to get more air to the front of it. So he could run a few laps hard, and we've had to calm it down. He's doing a good job, and we
we hate that it's happening, but we're going to have to try and finish this race best we can, so we're just going to have to let the brakes cool when they get hot.
That pretty much tells the story, guys. He's good right now, but when they heat up, he'll have to back off.
And there goes Mark Martin underneath Jeff Gordon to take the spot away.
Well, like we said, he looked a lot better, and he was for a few minutes.
Bernie Irvin almost into the wall. You saw him there out the right windshield of Jeff Gordon's car. Excuse me, buddy. But he got way up in the marbles and almost to the fence.
Almost don't count. Don't do that anymore.
Nope. We stay under green. This call for Irvin.
I think one thing that helps at this track, Mike, we've seen a couple of cars get out of that groove. This thing is 65 foot wide. You can get in there too hard, make a mistake, and there's room for recovery. Where some of the tracks, once you slip, you're knocking the fence. You've seen several cars lose it, be able to stay off the wall and get back in contention.
Let's show you that again from a different angle. You saw it out the windshield of Jeff Gordon's car.
No wonder you called attention to it. He was out there in the gray stuff. Once you're back in slippers and that old marble stuff out there.
That's when you stop and start all over again.
Almost want to call timeout and start over again.
There's Hut Strickland, who was looking for a relief driver. And Neil, when you said Jeff Burton was going to stand by in relief, I was a little skeptical because NASCAR has a rule against rookies driving in relief. Randy Pemberton found out the answer. You're right.
Well, that's right. He has won here before, like we talked about before this race. Jeff's got as much time on this racetrack as anybody out here, so it looks as if they're going to let him in the race car. He's got his helmet here. Hut Strickland, they think, is suffering from food poisoning. He came down a little bit sick last night. The crew says he sounds all right, but he's very, very weak in the car, so they're going to hopefully wait for a caution flag, but if Hut can't go, he's going to pull it in and Jeff's going to get the car.
Randy, I think there's a pretty good height difference between Strickland and Burton. Hut is a good bit taller, but hopefully Jeff will fit in there okay. NASCAR has waived the rule prohibiting rookies being relief drivers. Jeff Burton has a win on this racetrack, so he's well experienced here. Mark Martin brings up the spot.
Yeah, and he made it okay. I tell you, Mark Martin's on the go right now. Some of these guys might be having great trouble, but he's not one of them.
181 laps, and that puts Mark Martin into the top 5.
Let's take a look right here at the 6 car. You can see how much ductwork he had on the brakes. You know, we were looking at Jeff Gordon a while ago. He's got a small amount of brake area. This 6 car, look down on the lower front area of that car. All that entire area is opened up for brakes. I don't think he's going to have a problem with them.
There's a lot of air there.
But Mike, you know yourself, Jack Roush, the 24 hours a Daytona, all the road racing he does, he's in good shape.
Martin right, the brakes into turn number 1. Buddy, how much of that is to slow the car and how much of it is to set the nose going into the corner?
Okay, you watch him go down the back straightaway here. Just about now the brake comes on. He keeps that brake on way into the corner there, so he's using a lot of brakes, especially when he's turning like that.
I think most of the guys here had used, but these cars are capable of good numbers down the straightaway, mile per hour, and they just got to get that thing wound down and get it slow enough to make this real steep arc in the middle of the corner.
Riding with Mark Martin out of turn 2 and down the back straightaway here at New Hampshire International. Martin trails by 4.6 seconds, and there's Derek Culp getting overpassed quickly by 3 cars. Center of your screen, Jimmy Hensley picking up Purelator sponsorship for 3 races for the Kulwicki Racing Team. And though Jeff Bodine has purchased the team, they are operating as Alan Kulwicki Racing Inc. through the entire 1993 season. That answers one of our calls on our 800 line. So Alan Kulwicki Racing is still listed as the car owner. Bobby Labonte trying to move up on Jimmy Hensley. This is 10th and 11th place. You count Bill Elliott just ahead of them. That's 9th. The battle. They're trying to catch Kyle Petty in 8th.
You know, I bet when we get to talk to Rusty Wallace next time he'll talk to us, he's leading this thing and just hammering, man. He's getting on with it.
Doing well. 9th on back here.
Bobby Labonte there. He's running an extremely smart race today. I think he's looked after his car quite well. You see him moving on the inside there. He's doing a good job.
Here's big brother Terry. The nose of that car still flapping a bit as it has for about since the last caution period or 2. With Rusty Wallace leading at 186 laps at New Hampshire International Speedway. We'll be right back live on TNN. Set high
high in the White Mountains at the foot of the Presidential Range is the Mount Washington Resort, the ski area and the Cog Railway. Cogging along here, Rusty Wallace. He and Davey Allison are doing their best to stink up this show. I mean, we got a good competitive race here, but two cars hit the handle on a flat track and begin to pull off and away.
Speaking of railways, these two are on rails anywhere they want to go. And that once Rusty got out front, he's moving away.
We talked about the Lamontis. Here's a brother act. Jeff Bodine in the Motorcraft Ford and Brett Bodine in the Quaker State Ford. They are in 12th and 13th positions. Jeff, who won at Sears Point, 3 top 5 finishes. And Brett Bodine.
And the third car in that picture is Rick Nast. He's still running quite well.
Yeah, that's a Skoll Classic Ford of Richard Jackson. Brother car owners, as opposed to brother drivers. And Rick Mast currently is in 20th spot, 1 lap down. Ricky Rudd, Michigan winner, and Mark Martin right with him as they lap by Rick Wilson. Rudd has 4 top 5 finishes this year.
Mark Martin's coming back to the front. You know, he got back a little bit on that last caution. He's been picking them off. We've seen him work his way back up there.
I'll tell you, he's not worried about brake trouble. He's driving that thing as deep as he did when we first started the race out here.
And one thing that helps too, Roush, like we were talking about on that RPM, he doesn't mind twisting the motors. And you can use the motor as a brake, just like a truck, you know, with a Jake brake or something. They pull enough RPM, you lift on that baby, she starts slowing down.
The compression release.
Put a Jake brake in a Winston Cup car?
Yeah, man.
How about a Mark brake? Mark Tuesday.
They build those in Bloomfield, Connecticut. That's where my hometown.
There wasn't much of a battle for 10th, but you see Bobby Labonte just go by Jimmy Hensley there.
This is one of Bobby's best runs in Winston Cup racing. He's been in the top 5 most of the day. He has 1 top 10 finish, Charlotte.
He had a very good chance of maybe winning Charlotte. He had a caution right near the end there and brought everybody up on him, but he ran a super good race there.
I can't help but think when one of these Busch drivers moves up to Winston Cup, he's almost hesitant to get out there and really assert himself around the Winston Cup guys and take chances. Then he comes to the place where he's got more experience track-wise than the Winston Cup guys, then he really steps up the pace. But Bonnie knows he's got a long time deal with his car. He's just working his way into Winston Cup racing. He's doing a good job.
Having a good run here today. He is in the top 10. Up front, Rusty Wallace. Over Davey Allison, Sterling Marlin, Mark Martin, and Ricky Rudd. That's your front 5. There's the separation. Here's Randy.
Well, I'll tell you, Davey Allison is talking to his crew as he goes down the straightaways. It's amazing to me. The car is running second. Davey's having a good run, but they're talking about winning. Davey comes over the radio and says, I think we need to take a bite out of a round of bite out of the car when they pit in about 18 laps. Larry McReynolds, the crew chief, says, Davey, do we really want to do that right now? I know it's splitting hairs, but do we want to take a chance on doing that? Davey comes back and says, I think so. So we'll see what happens if they make 1 chassis adjustment or no chassis adjustment. I'm betting on the driver. What about you guys?
Yeah, if they don't listen to that driver, they might as well put a robot in there. If he thinks that thing needs a round of bite out of it, I can't help but think they'll cater to him on that and take it out and just see if the car gets better, because they've still got enough time in this race. The next caution, they can put it back in.
That's right. As well as he's running, how far back can he fall? Now here's one. Barbara from Arizona calls in a photo finish. If both cars finish in a dead heat, who is the winner? Well, it's a dead heat. They split the money, and they've done it once, and I think the fellow who was involved in it is sitting on my right.
Yeah, I keep telling Cale that the accelerator cable on the car slipped out about 3 inches, and I had to run about half throttle, and he was able to close in on the only dead heat that's ever been recorded in NASCAR.
For 3rd place in the 1974 Fire Tractor 400, Buddy Baker and Cale Yarborough. Then they split the 3rd and 4th place money.
You know, I don't even remember. I think we both got paid. Yeah,
I believe they did.
Exactly what they did, yeah.
Shows you how important money was to you, buddy. You didn't even notice.
Man, I just love the sport. I never did go in this thing and make a lot of money. And I managed to do just that.
Rusty Wallace from 33rd to the lead. It's the fastest second-round qualifier. He has 0.6 of a second on second place Davey Allison. 2.9 seconds further back is Sterling Marlin in third. And behind Marlin, 1.6 seconds to Mark Martin, and then a second and a half back to Ricky Rudd.
You know, we had Randy tell us a while ago, Davey had like 1 round to bite out of the car. It almost shows up when you watch. He's able to close in, get down in the corner right here. But in the middle of the corner, Rusty can turn that car down and go. And Davey's losing a little bit of time right in the center. So that's one reason he's wanting that round to bite out of that car and see if he can pick that throttle up just a little bit quicker.
Wallace and Allison move past Greg Sachs. The country time for it. Cold lemonade wouldn't be a bad thing today. 90 degrees out there in the grandstand.
No, and let me tell you, in the garage area, they keep that lemonade on the back of that tractor-trailer rig, and there's a lot of empty cups laying on the ground down here this week.
Well, I'll tell you, in the garage, they were parked right next to Bill Davis, the Bobby Labonte rig with Maxwell House coffee. There's a whole lot more lemonade going out of there than there was coffee. It's been record heat up here in New Hampshire, 90 degrees all week long and high humidity. A little cooler today.
We should have got the suntan franchise up here, suntan lotion.
One of the 10 days of summer here in New Hampshire. Bill Elliott and Bobby Labonte are battling for 9th position and have been for about the last 15 or 20 laps.
Yeah, Bobby's doing a great job. I tell you, really, I think the experience he has on this racetrack from running Busch Grand National showing up now. He's reeling in the 11 car there. You can see he's taking a real smooth line down in the corner. That's everything. The driver's being real smooth. You see he's not cramping the car there coming off the corner, accelerating well off the corner. He's just driving it the way you're supposed to.
He's not won here, buddy, but in Busch Grand National, in 6 Busch starts, he's finished second twice and 4 times in the top 10.
Well, those lap times. It's just hard to give up on running the laps. You know, somebody comes to the track and gets a lot of laps on the racetrack. You've got good feedback for what it takes to get around.
Bill Elliott, Bobby Labonte's fourth. It's Bobby Hill and the Heilig Myers, Jimmy Donlevy car just ahead. Last win on an oval track for a Ford. Wow. Morgan Shepherd back at Atlanta in March. The Snowball Snowman 500.
You know, that's kind of deceiving, though, because they have had chances to win a ton of ovals this year. Mark Martin himself should have won 4 or 5 races already, and he just had bad luck.
And the last time a Ford won on a mile oval was Davey Allison last November at Phoenix. Bobby Labonte had a run at Bill Elliott on the inside there. They move up on Rick Wilson in the STP Pontiac.
And it looks like Rick might be having a little bit of brake problem also. You notice he's getting in the corner awfully slow there, and you don't do that. Rick's a hard driver. He would never go down the corner that slow.
Rusty Wallace moving up on Michael Waltrip in the Pennzoil Pontiac, who's at the tail end of the lead lap. We'll be right back to New Hampshire after this. Back at New Hampshire, coming up to 90 laps to go, and the possibility that these cars just might be able to make a pit stop here and then go the distance. Rusty Wallace, your race leader, has just lapped Terry Labonte, the 14th place car.
Well, Buddy Parrott standing on top of the tool chest up there, keeping times for Rusty Wallace. They were discussing with Rusty, asked him how's the outside tires, the right-hand side tires. Rusty said everything is good. Matter of fact, Buddy's sending down here. He wants to talk to us, so we'll come up there and talk to him. Buddy, an amazing story. You guys 33rd to where you're running. Great run.
Well, you know, our qualifying time wasn't indicative of what we could run today, and Rusty, you know, he just told everybody, said, guys, I messed up qualifying. The guys are doing a great job in the pit. He's driving the heck out of that race car. Little genuine drive Pontiac's doing great. Everybody's feeling good about it. So, okay.
Any sudden changes at all? Any changes?
No, we just adjusted a little air pressure. We haven't put any bite in or out all day.
Buddy Parrott, veteran crew chief, got Richard Petty his 200th win, put a lot of drivers in victory lane, and Rusty Wallace several times this season already.
One of the real organizers in the sport, Buddy Parrott. Wherever he goes, they win.
And he'll motivate you, too.
That or knock your head off one.
Well, sometimes with a hammer, but he will motivate you.
Derek Cope in the Bojangles Ford of Cale Yarborough. To be overlapped by Wallace. And finally past Derek Cope has shortened up the interval to the second place car. There's Wallace. There's Davey Allison. 4 wins for Rusty this year. 8 top 5 finishes.
Davey also had to deal with a lap car there. He might have lost that he gained. Getting close to that pit stop, if they come in now, I can't help but think they can go the rest of the way. That's what they're gauging. They're trying to get to that window where they can make this last stop, and that'll be it.
86 laps to run. First green flag pit stops occurred about lap 81. And the last time anybody among the leaders was in was lap 164.
There's Dale Jarrett moving up on Ricky Rudd. He's been closing in on him, and this is the position.
That's right. Rudd is the 5th place car. And Jarrett, who is second in the point standings, can gain a lot of ground on Earnhardt today. Because Earnhardt, having brake trouble, is 2 laps down and in danger of going 3 laps down.
We're going to be getting close to those pit stop. I see the guys over pit wall are stacking tires up, getting them ready to come out. So just a few laps away from these guys having to come in.
Harry Gant has made a pit stop, went past Mark Martin like I thought there was something wrong with Martin's car, but it was just Gant having fresh tires. And here's Jarrett trying to make the move for 5th place.
Wow, he made that look easy.
But Ricky Rudd loses the position, but doesn't lose any ground to Dale Jarrett. Just picks up right where he was running. Now in 6th place. Still 1 pit stop to go. Should we stay green? Back. Rudd, of course, will form his own team next year, take sponsor Tide with him, and who Terry Labonte will replace him at the Rick Hendrick organization in the 5 car.
I tell you, Terry Labonte will win a lot of races. He's the type of race car driver. He's very much like Rudd. They're getting kind of the same type of race car driver to put back into the team.
Earnhardt has just gone a 3rd lap down to Rusty Wallace. Word is pit stops about lap 240 if we stay green. But if one of those lead lap cars comes in and gets fresh tires and starts clicking off fast laps, watch for everybody in.
You like to be able to make your own calls. You like to use your own judgment. Here, it looks like we're making that driver change right here. There's Hutton Strickland out of the car.
And Jeff Burton being strapped in. Buddy?
You see the guy on the right side there. He's in there helping strap this guy in because there is a difference in the height and everything else of these guys. And you got to hook up the radios, make sure everything's intact there. Oh.
This will be the last pit stop for that team. Hut Strickland came into the pits 1 lap down. Now he's 2 laps off pace. Getting a little assist there.
Smart thing he's just done. If you feel this way, you don't need to be out there. And there's a good race car driver there. Give the race car over and not take a chance to hurt yourself and maybe somebody else.
Medical crews on the scene just in case.
We've got some of our TNN crew there helping him get out. Get that uniform there, we can cool off a little bit.
And Jeff Burton comes on track in the McDonald's car. They'll try to run a couple of races this year. Burton will for Phil Martasi. And perhaps a look at Winston Cup racing next season. And Hut's getting cooled down. Rusty Wallace, 220 laps, 80 to go.
Neil, sometimes the oil tank is right behind the seat there. That looked like the seat might have had him real hot. They're pouring water all over him. It didn't look like a stomach problem to me. It looked like heat.
It's hard to say, but I'll tell you what, he did look too sporty there. That thing, it was time for him to get out of that car. We was touching on something right before that happened. We was talking about these pit stops. You like to be able to sit down and do your own strategy and decide when to pit. When these other teams start making you do things, pit early, and then, like you said, Mike, you can't let them go out there with your tires. They'll beat you to death. So somebody's going to make a move here in a minute, and then the whole field's going to have to kind of roll with the punch and change their attitude, what they're going to do.
Well, I'll give you an example, Neil. Mark Martin's the 4th place car, and he's gaining on Sterling Marlin. Harry Gant got fresh tires about 15 laps ago. He passed Mark like Mark was stopped, and Gant is now a straightaway ahead of Mark Martin. That's what tires will do for him.
Look at Rusty Wallace go under Jeff Bodine there. That car is just flawless right now. He's able to drive anywhere he wants to.
Talk about good flat track drivers. Put Rusty Wallace's name near the top of that list.
Those two guys, both of them. Jeff Bodine's as good as there comes on flat track.
So Jeff is the 13th place car. That leaves us 12 cars on the lead lap here at New Hampshire, with at least one pit stop to go and another 75 laps of racing. We'll be right back. Rusty Wallace continues to lead the inaugural Winston Cup event at New Hampshire. Welcome back to our TNN Live coverage. Mike Joy with Neil Bonnet and Buddy Baker, Glenn Jarrett, and Randy Pemberton on pit road. This has been the best race on the Speedway. Sterling Marlin just got up to and past Mark Martin. That'll be for 3rd place behind Wallace and Davey Allison. Sterling started his Winston Cup career at Nashville, Tennessee, his home racetrack, back in 1976 at the age of 17. Been on the circuit pretty much ever since. Finished 2nd at Daytona earlier this month. Looking for that first Winston Cup win. Today could be the day. Mark Martin looking for his season's first win.
I think Mark Martin's car is working quite well. You see Greg Saxon's been in the pit. He's motoring right on by. You see Mark having to take a wider line there.
This battle 7 seconds behind the race leader.
There's the car's been lapped twice and got new tires on there, and look at him go.
Yep. Just like Mike was talking about earlier, I mean, you just can't give up that kind of time. One of these leaders might make that early call, and it's going to beat them in the ground unless they alter.
That's it. The difference, Neil, so far, nobody on the lead lap has come in for tires. Now, Jeff Bodine, as you see there, just coming out of Bud Moore's pit. As soon as he got lapped by the race leader, he came in for tires. Sterling Marlin almost in the fence at turn 2. Got way up in the marbles, as we've seen several drivers do today. Dale Jarrett has to check up in the middle of the backstretch and almost run over top of him, and finally goes to the inside.
I mean, when he had that problem, he just going to drop anchor and start over again.
Yep. Yeah, you get in the loose stuff up there. All the shavings off these tires are on the right-hand side of the racetrack. Ooh, still not too good. He got up there and he started sliding, and it looked like he was going to tag the wall, and he just had to stop almost and then go down the back straightaway.
I'll show it to you again. You get up into that loose stuff and get the tire debris on your tires and start sliding. And the second thing you think of is, if you just get me out of this one, I promise I'll be good.
That's when he seen Elvis right there.
Yeah, right.
You get out there in that stuff and you say, why did he stop so slow? Well, if he'd have kept going, he'd have ran in the wall coming off turn 2. I mean, you got to get it down to controlled speed, like driving on ice, just to get the car stopped where you can get it, just regroup and go again.
9th place. These fellows were battling for 9th place 100 laps ago.
And they're still doing it.
Bill Elliott and Bobby Labonte.
It looks like the carbon copy of what we saw 100 laps ago. Labonte on the inside, the 11-mile side. Here he goes off the corner, pulls him off there. Labonte's able to get on the inside of time and time again. It's hard to get around that 11 car.
Bill Elliott's best finish this season, 6th. Charlotte Motor Speedway.
How would you like to make a bet that the first of the year Bill Elliott wouldn't have finished any better than 6th up to this point in the season? You just wouldn't have, nobody would have bet.
He would have got better odds than winning that Powerball thing or whatever that was.
Yeah, exactly.
A big lottery check. Jeff Bodine almost hit the wall in 2 a minute ago. He got up into the marbles, had to bring it back down.
Well, let me tell you, these guys this is the longest green flag run they've made. They're stretching it to get into that real safe window and trying to just pit with a few laps to go. This is the longest green flag run they've made, and they're using up their tires a little bit more.
These cars are 8 seconds from going a lap down. There are 12 cars on the lead lap. Wallace the leader, Allison 2nd, Martin is 3rd, Jarrett 4th, Marlin 5th, Rudd is 6th, Gordon 7th, Petty is 8th. Then this battle, 9th and 10th, Elliott and Bobby Labonte. Then Brett Bodine is 11th, and Jimmy Hensley is 12th.
Jimmy Spencer just made the move that we saw early. He's right up on the wall then at 1 and 2. He had the same thing happen. Starting to happen to a lot of cars.
Kenny Bouchard, the 85 car. And the race leader in traffic, Wallace.
I think that's what happened to Spencer, where he was trying to pick up the pace and not go a lap down, lose another lap. He sailed her off and won the lap before, and I mean, he was up there about to knock the fence down.
Now Spencer is racing Musgrave there for position. And Davey Allison closes up in traffic on race leader Rusty Wallace.
You know, we talked earlier, Davey was on that round of bite out. We were talking about how much time was left. Now, do you take it out? When he comes in, they're going to look at one more run. You're not going to have that option to put it in and take it out. They're really going to reevaluate this thing and decide if they want to make that major adjustment.
That's a good part of the radio communication between the pits and the driver. I guarantee you every lap they're talking about what can we do to make this car better for this last run.
Well, they're about 5 laps from having to make that decision for the final pit stop based on the number of laps they've run under green thus far today. There are 65 left in this race.
This is as close as we've seen Davey Allison get to that 2 car in a long time. I don't know if it's traffic or Davey's picking the pace up right here, but sure closed it down.
Rusty Wallace has had 4 wins, a bunch of top 5 finishes, and 2 horrendous flips this season. And his wins have kind of come in spurts. And he could be on another string here.
His flips have come in spurts. Ooh, man, what some rides Rusty's taken. And I tell you what, an attitude for a driver to have. Stuff like that just doesn't affect someone like Rusty. He knows I got good, safe race cars. I got cars can win races. Kind of take them in stride, move on to the next race.
I love to hear Rusty talking about Earnhardt. You know, they really have a competition second to none as far as the way they love to race each other and all.
Right.
And he said that Earnhardt's closed in on me. He's got 4 wins too. I'm going to have to win another one just to get ahead of him.
Today could be the day. Let's get down to Glenn Jarrett on pit road.
Well, Mike, more problems for Sterling Marlin other than getting out of shape a while ago. NASCAR has reported to them that there's something coming out of the overflow on the car. I asked Ken Wilson, the crew chief, and he says, yes, the temperature on the car is creeping up a little bit. They're regularly scheduled pit stops coming up in a couple of laps, so I'm sure they're going to try to address that problem, but it's awfully hot. It's going to be tough to cool that car down.
Sterling Marlin, who won accolades from the anybody but Earnhardt fans here at New Hampshire, a bit earlier in this race. Jimmy Spencer is in. Now he's 2 laps down, but making a pit stop, and they got tires up on the wall for Davey Allison. If Davey stops, we'll see the rest of the leaders in very shortly. Pit forward is out for Allison. Here he comes.
Boy, those new tires going to feel good because these guys were slipping and sliding a little bit. As these 4 new tires on, these other guys can't wait long.
Gas can in the air for Ricky Rudd as well. There's Davey.
He's got plenty of brakes left, Neil. You see the front lock up?
Ted Musgrave is in.
They're not doing anything to the adjustments on the car.
There he goes. He's going to do it.
Okay, here we go.
There's that thing Davey requested.
1 round.
Half a round. They satisfied each other. They won a half a round.
That was a negotiated settlement.
And as they go down pit road, Davey says, did you take that round out? They said, yeah, we sure did.
A half a round out of the right rear. Boy, was that a compromise.
So now Jimmy Hensley and Ernie Irvin come to pit road. Hensley was the 12th place car on the lead lap. Rusty Wallace continues to lead as Sterling Marlin, Bobby Hillen, and Wally Nollenbach come to the pit lane.
Sterling Marlin is coming slowly down pit road. Boy, it takes them a long time at the speed they're having to run now. He pulls the car in. Right now they're concerned with changing all 4 tires and fueling the car. I don't think that they're going to try to address that heat problem. They're just going to hope that it doesn't get any worse. They're going to take time and make sure that they get the front grille section clean so that airflow is not blocked. Boy, other than that, it's pretty routine pit stop. They are making a chassis adjustment on both the right and the left rear. They said the car was a little tight. It was a little over 21 seconds, so they're trying to loosen the car up. Hope that heating problem doesn't get any worse.
Kyle Petty has come on to pit road, Glenn, and so has Brett Bodine. Here's Rusty Wallace, the race leader.
Our I'll tell you guys, there was great discussion as to when to bring Rusty in. They saw Davey come down pit road. The Parrott guys were talking about when to bring Rusty in. See, the problem being is Davey goes out there with fresh tires. He's getting around the track a lot quicker. They wanted to bring him in right off the bat, but Davey got 2 laps on fresh tires, so he may have opened up a lead. We'll see.
I don't know, with pit stops like 17.4 seconds there on the Keystone clock, that will be pretty good for Buddy Parrott and the crew to get Rusty back to the front. Here's Mark Martin's team, led by Steve Meal. He'll get 4 tires. Mark came in to the pits as the second-place car. This will put Jeff Gordon into the lead. Bobby Labonte is in. Ricky Rudd is in, getting 4 tires. So is Rick Mast and Michael Waltrip. Bill Elliott takes on 4, and now Jeff Gordon will surrender the lead and bring his DuPont Chevrolet to the pit lane. See Ricky Rudd going out. He passes by Bobby Labonte and will roll past Bill Elliott there on the left. Ooh, no, he won't. Elliott comes out. Gordon drops in. Ray Evernham and crew go to work.
Get an idea right here. We saw Rusty Wallace's pit stop a while ago. Get an idea what's happening here with this team.
This will leave Terry Labonte as the only driver on the lead lap yet to pit.
Now they took a full round out of the back of the DuPont car there.
20.6 seconds.
About 3 seconds different than we had with Rusty Wallace.
Morgan Shepherd is on pit road, and so is Kenny Bouchard. As clean flag pit stops continue, we'll be right back. TNN's exclusive coverage of the Slick 5300 is brought to you by Coors Light. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now. That's a wheel off Rusty Wallace's car. It's a sticker tire, one they did not put on this pit stop. Wallace went for scuff tires. Davey Allison put on sticker tires.
Junior, you would think stickers would be better, and they opted to go with the scuffs. They might have found something in practice that's going their way. We'll find out here in a minute, because that's about as close together as we can get them.
A lot of times you'll change and put new tires on the left side and old tires on the right side to take up for deficiency in the handling on the car. And as you see, the 2 cars were certainly working well. He's run down the 28 car and closed in here to make it a battle for the lead.
Mike, I think you hit on it earlier when you said that 2 laps that Davey stayed out on fresh tires, got those new tires quicker than Rusty, and they didn't get back. And we saw what a tremendous stop Rusty had. Davey had a good stop too, but those new tires might have been the difference.
And also, to be fair, while we were away, as Darrell Waltrip goes to pit road, Davey did get caught in quite a knot of race traffic, and Rusty was able to scramble back up on him. Of the cars that were on the lead lap, you see Terry Labonte just behind Rusty Wallace. He has gone a lap down after these pit stops. And also Kyle Petty had a 33-second pit stop and has gone 1 lap down. So that leaves us on the lead lap with 50 to go with Davey Allison, Rusty Wallace, Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett, Sterling Marlin in 5th, Jeff Gordon, Ricky Rudd, Bill Elliott, and nobody. That's it, 9 cars. Jimmy Means has gone to the garage.
Boy, you think track position is not very critical. Rusty, they got him out front a while ago, and nobody can touch him. And Davey gets out front now, and looks like he's driving away from Rusty.
Well, Rusty had a little bit of trouble getting past some lap over cars there, and I think he'll catch right back up because the car seems to be doing anything he wants it to do. But he got in the pack there, and I tell you, track position, as you said, is very important.
And Davey Allison is now opening up a little room on Rusty.
Well, we saw him make that chassis adjustment that they were wanting, and they compromised with a half around. Might have helped the car. Boy, Rusty can get those left side wheels all the way below the line up off that car.
254 laps complete.
You know, it's amazing when you think about these cars weighing 3,500 pounds, and you can crank those wedge bolts 10 rounds this way, 10 rounds that, change springs 200 or 300 pounds around the shocks, and then you get it down to so fine-tuned in a half a round. Makes a difference. It's amazing.
You see Terry Labonte in this shot right here. He's running as well as Rusty Wallace is at this moment, right? He just got messed up on the track a while ago, but he's run well all day.
Yeah, he was the last of the cars on the lead lap to make a pit stop, buddy. The winner gets 175 Winston Cup points, plus 5 points for having led at least that last lap of the race.
Every driver who leads a lap gets 5 points. The driver who leads the most laps gets another 5-point bonus. So it's 175 for first, then 170 for second. It drops down 5 points per position for the first 7 spots. Then it drops down 4 points for a while, then 3 points for a while, all the way back. So everybody gets at least some points. It's a little bit of a confusing system. Developed by Bob Latford, then NASCAR publicist back in the early 70s, and it worked pretty well.
You know, it's kind of confusing, but when we get down to the end of the season every year, we got 3 or 4 guys within just a few points to win the championship, so it's pretty balanced.
Rusty underneath Morgan Shepherd. Shepherd, 15th position, 2 laps down.
That wreck real early must have hurt him because his car was really good, and that thing has knocked him off the pace some.
They lap around this track at an average of about 125 miles an hour. Again, you saw it's almost a 3,000 RPM difference from the middle of the corner to the end of the straightaway. So, really slowing it down compared to their straightaway speeds. I think, what do we see on the telemetry, 160 going into the turn?
Right at 160 miles an hour.
2 Hendrick cars battle for position.
Now, 2 Hendrick's cars, one with brake trouble, one without.
One without, with trouble is having trouble.
There might not be too many fellows in this sport better at conserving their car than Ricky Rudd.
I think he's one of the best slick track drivers that we have on the whole circuit.
He's just moved past Jeff Gordon, and Rudd will move up into 6th place. Won at Michigan last month, 4 top 5 finishes this year.
You know, on a flat track, a guy that runs well on a road course normally runs well on a flat track, other than you did.
I'm sorry about that. Too many right-hand turns confuse me. Well, here we see him. There's a lap traffic like somebody's in some big trouble. Held up the 5 car. Here's Gordon right behind him. It just stops you when you get in that traffic.
Yep.
Now, see Jeff's car kind of work outside there. Ricky's already back in the throttle. He lost a lot of time there.
Very smooth driver Rudd is. Now here's Rusty Wallace again, 2nd place, chasing Davey Allison. He got into a little traffic trouble here a lap ago. Let's show you.
Comes up on Derek Cope. Wham! There we go. Rusty's car's running really fast through the middle of the corner. He ran up on 898, tapped him in the rear some.
Now that looks like, a thump, but there's only a 2 or 3 mile an hour difference between the speeds of those 2 cars at that point. Certainly it's enough to feel, but is it enough to upset one of those cars?
Well, they probably run 135 miles an hour right there. But like you say, it was a 2 mile an hour lick. It didn't cause any problem to shove the guy around a little bit.
The real problem is losing 2 or 3 seconds to lead car, and that really hurts.
Heck, we parked cars with bigger bumps than that.
Turned in rental cars with bigger bumps than that.
Not that we'll admit to. Let's admit to a commercial and come back with a finish of the Slick 5300 at New Hampshire International. Davey Allison leading Rusty Wallace. Here's a good look at New Hampshire International Speedway from our Ray Vestas Brakes helicopter camera. And you see there's almost a straightaway between turns 3 and 4 up there, Neil. Just a little bit of one. Almost makes it a 4-corner racetrack.
Certainly different, I tell you what, but when they laid the thing out, they really thought about what they were doing. It enables these cars to get around this thing without getting in a lot of problems. We've seen cars have trouble and regain control. That's what I like about it.
This car hasn't had much trouble today. Davey Allison, guy he's tracking, has had a bit. Earnhardt, brake problems has slowed Earnhardt's progress. He is 27th, 3 laps down, and his closest pursuer in the points chase, Dale Jarrett, is running 4th right now. That may be a difference of 80 or 90 points that Jarrett could pick up today. He cannot take over the lead, even if Earnhardt were to fall out of the race. Earnhardt moves over, lets the leader pass. Mike Waltrip just ahead of him is only 1 lap down. Well, excuse me, has just gone 2 laps down. There's a knot of cars. Kyle Petty is a lap down. The other Felix Savati's car, Kenny Wallace, the dirt double Pontiac, right with him.
Y'all is in 9th place right there.
Yep.
A lap down.
Kenny is 3 laps back. There's Jimmy Hensley racing Kyle for 9th place. 1 lap down. Hensley into Curley, report number 7. man just behind them, Bobby Labonte, he's also 1 lap down and is part of that battle. So that's all for position, not including Ernie Irvin, who is 2 laps behind.
See the 22 car. He was up there earlier. Labonte was up there racing with Elliott. Now he's back here with Jimmy Hensley.
And here's your Napa Field standing update, brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. We have caution on the racetrack.
I don't see anything, Mike. It might be debris or something. I don't see anything on the track.
30 laps to go, and it is a debris caution. NASCAR has observers stationed all the way around the racetrack to see if there is something on the track that could cause one of these drivers a safety problem, and there it is. What is it?
Might get in there tight enough. We can tell what we got here, Mike. It's
tickets to next year's race.
It's a hub off of an axle. That's the hubcap that holds the axle in the rear end housing. It's got 4 little bitty Allen head bolts, and it's come out of somebody's rear end. You see the lines on that thing? That are lines that lines up the lug studs so they know where to put the wheel on. That's somebody's broken axle.
I'd definitely puncture a tire if you run over it. So they did the right thing there by throwing the caution.
Somebody is going to be wondering where their axle's at. That holds the axle in.
Yeah, when they go to hit the accelerator and only one wheel's turning, they're going to find out the hard way in a hurry. Wait till a pit crew member tries to put a tire on there.
We'll see it first. It'll start smoking pretty good, too.
So Davey Allison sees his lead go away as a piece falls off someone else's car.
You think they'll stop?
Yeah, I would. As much as new tires mean here, there are only, buddy, there's only 7 cars on the lead lap.
Well,
I would think you'd have to stop.
There's your answer right there.
I would say they will.
Nice of you to guess now, Mr. Bonnet. So Davey Allison leads Rusty Wallace down pit road, but everybody did not stop. Here's Mark Martin in, Dale Jarrett. Brett Bodine comes down pit road, and you see the 2 pit stops from among the leaders. Now, of the cars on the lead lap, here's Sterling Marlin, Ricky Rudd, and Jeff Gordon also in. Rusty Wallace fast on pit road again, 17.1 seconds.
Boy, they continuously do that.
Davey Allison, 19.3.
What might have made that look a little more offside than it was, Rusty got in his pit first, and they started quicker, but still, you see Rusty going out first.
On the watch, a 1.8 second difference. All the cars on the lead lap pitted. Let's see what happens. We're back under caution here at New Hampshire International Speedway, 6th one today. We talked about that hub lying out in the middle of the track. Watch this. Jimmy Hensley.
The 7 car did all the work for NASCAR. He picked it right up and took it all the way in the infield.
And Stan Sobolek, our cameraman, gets the shot.
And here it comes.
He must shoot a lot of baseballs, about that size.
He'd be good shooting a golf ball off a driver.
Yep.
And what was crazy about it, rolled right up to the safety truck. They just opened the door, got out and got it.
Hey, Stan, nice job. Up on that scissors lift. And this from our Ray Bestis Brakes aerial camera. Mike Peavy of Boston's piloting the chopper today, and George Shaftsman of Melbourne, Florida, is our cameraman. 1 lap to go, and we're going to find out who wins this here at New Hampshire. After the run down pit road, Rusty Wallace is the race leader. Davey Allison is 2nd. Mark Martin is 3rd. Jeff Gordon is 4th. Dale Jarrett is 5th. Sterling Marlin is 6th. Jeff Gordon tries to clean the tires, weaving back and forth. 7th is Ricky Rudd. 8th is Bobby Labonte, and 9th is Bill Elliott.
There's the hat of the week.
There's Buddy Parrott with the belt overhang of the week.
I'll tell you one thing, it's going to be critical right here. Just like when Rusty makes a start, the guy that breaks that inside line and gets around those lap cars, he can get that inside line, and Davey doesn't. Right on the start, it'll be critical.
Clean those tires good, boys.
Bobby Labonte is going to try to get back on the lead lap here. He and Bill Elliott and Kyle Petty there are racing for position.
Jeff Gordon sitting here in 4th. Run a good race all day.
Rusty Wallace used to be one of the best when he starts with the transmission stuff he'd run. But it looks like both of the leaders are going to be able to clear the lap cars before they get down in turn 1. And in fact, all 3 leaders.
27 laps to go. Pontiac, Ford, and 2 Chevrolets.
You know, Mark Martin might be the sleeping giant here. That car is running well.
He's taking a look inside of Allison, right at the back straightaway.
Elliott inside of Labonte. Now that's for position right there. That's for 8th place. Let's go back up toward the front. 2nd place, Davey Allison. 3rd place, Mark Martin.
See, Davey's car Wickley's that outside lane. He couldn't get a hold of the track like going to. Mark's got that inside line going turn 1.
Which one of these Fords will be up there to challenge Rusty Wallace?
Rusty's hoping they stay tied for a while.
That would benefit him. Martin makes the pass. Davey drops in line, and they will again try and run down the Pontiac of Wallace.
The 6th car is the pole setter for this race. Got a lot of race car. Like Mark's ready to get after him.
I don't think there's anybody on this racetrack more motivated to win a race than Mark Martin. There he is. Full face helmet and piece of vacuum cleaner hose going back to a cool air can.
Look at the crowd going by in the back window there. You think they're not moving along?
Look at Davey Allison coming up.
Boy, taking a look at that inside. See how hard he holds that throttle down this time, buddy. Well, we saw 8,400 a while ago. That time is not quite as much RPM as he had before.
Well, back straightaway, you don't run as fast as you do down the front straightaway for some reason.
See what we...
And Ricky Rudd comes up, takes a spot from Sterling Marlin.
Like Labonte, the 8 car had a little contact above that corner.
Rudd moves up to 6th. Rick Mast and Terry Labonte get together. Mast in the Skoll car, Labonte going underneath the Kellogg's machine. And Jimmy Hensley coming back. Jimmy is a lap down. Battling Bobby Labonte and Jeff Bodine for position, and Morgan Shepherd.
Ooh, there's Dave Marcus spinning now.
Uh-oh.
Look like he and Rick Wilson may have got together.
Nope, no caution. He's gotten going. There will not be a caution. We stay green.
Boy, look at Mark Martin. Now, we saw Rusty and Davey battling back and forth all day long. Well, in that shot a while ago, Mark Martin was coming in on that 2 car.
Mark almost got a piece of that outside wall coming off the corner.
Mark really working on that car now to get him up on that 2 car, Rusty Wallace.
Man, that's great. That's a pretty shot there.
It's a pretty shot when you can see that leader and you got him that close.
Yeah, man.
Let's show it to you again. Dave Marcus and Rick Wilson.
They got together going down turn 1. Wilson to the inside. Marcus didn't quite get that wall out there. That's what's nice about this track. You got a little bit of room to work with.
And we stay under green. Mike Waltrip comes to pit road with a Pennzoil car to the attention of Katie Haas and the crew.
Yep. Katie Haas worked with Tina. She's down there. She's got another job. She's working in the pits this week.
Let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Well, guys, Rusty Wallace on that last pit stop, he certainly didn't like the way he was not able to catch Davey prior to that last caution. They took 1 round of bite out of the left rear, try to loosen him up just a little bit, and go ahead and let him drive it. So he could get a little loose by the end of this race, but at least he's got the ability now to free the car up to come off the corner. And you'll watch him. He's a little loose coming on the board, aren't he?
Pretty loose. I'd say he is.
You're right. He had that vacuum hung on that car. We still got 20 laps to go in this race. And you can live with that for a little while, but it'll start hurting you later if you break that rear loose very many times.
There's the pack bearing down on Jeff Gordon. Kyle Petty and Bill Elliott are racing for a spot, but Dale Jarrett and Ricky Rudd are trying to get up and battle Jeff Gordon for 4th place. There's Gordon. And he's got Kyle separating him from those next 2 cars. Rick Wilson trying to finish this one out.
He definitely has brake problems. I think it might have been what happened with Marcus a while ago. He ran in behind him and just couldn't slow down, popped him out the back.
We see the 8 car, Sterling Marlin right back there. This is 7th place, right behind Ricky Rudd, who's 6th, and closing in.
1 car very slow in the back straightaway, Terry Labonte. 15th place.
A lot of smoke out of the back of that.
Had a good run going today.
Well, he turned off that return road there. That's a real good thing they have at this racetrack. You don't have to run through the corner if something happens to your car. They do have a road that goes all the way around the inside of the infield.
So the former Winston Cup champ Labonte will apparently head for the garage.
There's Mark Martin. He's hoping to see that back end jump out in front of that car in front of the time 2 like they did before. didn't see that happening. He'll settle on the edge of that seat, see if we get Rusty back. But let me tell you, Rusty can live with the car that's loose.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. This car's handling. Look at him go through that corner. The wheel barely moving.
These are 2 of 7 cars on the lead lap. Wallace looking out the windshield. He's your race leader. You're riding with Mark Martin, the second-place car. Davey Allison is 3rd. Jeff Gordon is 4th. Dale Jarrett is 5th. 6th is Ricky Rudd. And 7th is Sterling Marlin. And Greg Sachs has been to the wall.
Mike, it looked like he made contact that time. He got all wet. Looked like the right front's down on him.
Yep. But we'll stay green. 1 lap down. 8th is Kyle Petty. 9th is Bill Elliott. 10th, Bobby Labonte. 11th, Jimmy Hensley. 12th, Jeff Bodine. And 13th, Brett Bodine.
Boy, there's a lot of sparks out from under that car. He's really got a lot of damage there. Here comes Kyle Petty up under Jeff Gordon.
This is not for position.
No, but what it's doing with him having to race outside that 42, right behind him, those guys that are racing for position are really going to try to cash in on this.
Yep, here comes Dale Jarrett. Moving up on Jeff Gordon and solo Ricky Rudd. 2 laps down, and 14th is Morgan Shepherd. 15th is Ernie Irvin. 16th, Rick Mast. 17th, Jimmy Spencer. 18th is Harry Gannon. 19th, Ted Musgrave. 3 laps down, Bobby Hillen, Kenny Wallace, Derek Cope, Darrell Waltrip, and Mike Waltrip. That takes you back through the top 25.
You know, just watching these cars a second ago, boy, they're wiggling around a lot. These cars, I don't think anybody's perfect. They're just dealing with what they have right now.
And it's time to deal with it. We're down to just a few laps to go, so they've got to get after it.
Greg Sachs burned up the hub or lost a brake line on the right front of car number 68 that was on fire when he came in. They've extinguished it, but they're having trouble getting the jack under the car with that tire all the way down on the rim. Very tough break for the former modified champ. Mark Martin is closing in with 14 laps to go here at New Hampshire. We'll be right back. TNN Motorsports exclusive coverage of the Slick 50 300 is brought to you by AC Delco. It's like buying time. Packed house here in southern New Hampshire. The village of Loudon usually has about 3,000 residents, not counting agriculture. However, today it's the 3rd largest city in the state of New Hampshire. I should have said not counting livestock, but some 75,000 people in this area. Here's a look at Jeff Gordon.
I think he's out of brakes now. He's fading.
Yep, while we were away, Ricky Rudd and Gordon got together a little bit as Rudd was trying to make the pass. He eventually did complete it. Now Morgan Shepherd going underneath, not for position. Gordon stays on the lead lap, but he is now in 7th place, last car on the lead lap.
You know, that's got to be the worst feeling in the world when you mash that brake pedal and it goes to the floor going in the corner like that.
Well, the worst feeling is when there ain't a brake pedal there. I broke one off at Daytona one time and fell in the floor.
What are you doing using the brakes in Daytona?
Well, it's nice just to feel it there. I wanted the option of at least being there.
Morgan Shepherd and Ernie Irvin. That is for position. 14th place right there. The Kodak and the Citgo cars are running 2 laps back, battling for 14th. Both those cars got tied up in early collisions. And they have, maybe that's the New Hampshire stripe on the right front and the left rear.
That's the battle of the ugly cars going there. Both of them look like they've been through a thrashing machine.
They started out kind of pretty, but not now. A lot of those cars in that pack are a lap down. Like Jimmy Hensley, Jeff Bodine, battling for position. Mark Martin and Davey Allison running 2nd and 3rd as we get down toward 5 laps to go. Let's go to pit road. Here's Glenn and Mark Martin's pit.
What's that about with Steve Hill? Steve, you guys been chasing the thing all day. You look like you got the car pretty good now, but have you got anything up for Rusty, or are you just trying to hold Davey off?
That's as good as we can, but Rusty's outrunning us. We're worried now about holding Davey off. We'd at least like to be the first 4, but anything can happen here. We've had a pretty good day. We kind of chased the car a little bit, but we've enjoyed our day in New Hampshire.
Okay, that was a very diplomatic thing to say.
Well, he's another fella, Glenn, who saw this race as a homecoming. Steve Emils from upstate New York.
worked on some NASCAR modified teams before he came south to go Winston Cup racing.
This is the battle right here for position because Rusty has checked out in about a 200-yard lead in front of these guys. This is going to be the fight to the end right here for second place.
3 laps to go when Wallace comes to the stripe.
We thought that Rusty might get loose. You see him right there, and there's the interval coming up. You know, a couple hundred yards back, but when he made that chassis adjustment, he said he won't fire, he pulled away.
And the car now doesn't look loose at all. He has about 25 car lengths, maybe a third of a straightaway, not even on these 2 cars.
Maybe 10 miles the way it looks, these guys chasing him.
With 2 to go.
This is battle right here, and you could almost tell that Steve Meal felt that they really got a blessing on that last yellow flag because they were kind of out of it. Now they got a chance to at least finish second.
A Ford has not won on a 1-mile racetrack since Phoenix last year, and a Ford has not won a NASCAR Winston Cup race on an oval track since Atlanta this spring.
There's Davey taking a look at that inside. Is Mark going to give him inside lane?
It'll be pretty tough to give it to him. He might take it, but he won't give it to him.
Where you see the nose of that 28 up under Mark. Back in, jumped out under Mark a little bit right there.
Caught it. 1 to go. Last time around for Rusty Wallace and this battle for second place.
Davey's going to swing out wide, try to cut the car back down to the bottom. There's Rusty coming off. He's checking out on him.
Here's second place. Davey's got one more shot here at turn 3 to take second place money.
He actually had a little bit better run on the white flag lap.
He did. Rusty's going to come off turn 4 to score his 26th career victory, tying him with Hall of Famer Fred Lorenzen. Mark Martin, by a car length, holds off Davey Allison 4 seconds. 4th will go to Dale Jarrett, who will move to within 171 points of Dale Earnhardt, knocking 80 points out of Earnhardt's lead. 10th Super Speedway win for Rusty Wallace.
I just saw the guys running second, third pull up beside Rusty, congratulate him. They know what a struggle he's been in the last month or so with those wrecks and everything.
I tell you, he and Earnhardt keep this up, and Winston's going to kind of be slack next year.
So Rusty Wallace comes around to the red flag to the front straightaway. And let's see what happens. Yep. The Alan Kulwicki victory lap. Wallace said every time he won this season, he would honor his friend, a longtime competitor and defending Winston Cup champion, for the wrong way victory lap. So Rusty Wallace, to all those fans along the backstretch in the campers, there he goes. Hand out the window, wave to the folks that have cheered him on today. We said one of NASCAR's best slick track drivers comes around turn number 2 in the opposite direction, and now coming to the attention of these 70,000 fans.
No luck involved either. He did it all.
We'll meet him in victory lane after this. Rusty Wallace for the 5th time this season. Victory lane. The first ever Winston Cup race winner in New England is Rusty Wallace, when Jarrett's with him.
Well, Rusty, for a guy that just drove 300 miles from 33rd place to 1st, you look pretty doggone cool. That car was great, wasn't it?
The car was perfect today. I'm telling you, motor run great. The tires were great. You know, just everything was great. I'm telling you, I really boneheaded in the qualifying. I had the fastest car here in practice. I overdrove it and got up into the loose stuff and had started 33rd. Let me tell you something. A little pressure on myself to perform for these guys that work real hard. I'm just happy that that Emerson or Tracy did good today, another Penske team, and we were able to do this for them today. It's a great comeback. We weren't ever down. We were just taking a little nap, I think.
Well, the nap you took qualifying, though, which is more important to you, though? You know, charging back like this in this race or starting on the pole?
Yeah, I mean, winning a race, obviously. I mean, it's a great deal. I'm just really happy to win this thing. Can't say enough for the team and Miller Genuine Draft, AC, Pontiac, Goodyear, Roger Penske, the whole Penske Corp. and all the people make all this possible. Everybody really did a great job.
You had to be pretty glad to see that last caution, and it gave you a chance. Looked like you and Davey were pretty even up until that last caution.
Yeah, we really were, and Davey pitted before we did. He got a little track position on me with fresher tires. But that's a gamble we wanted to take. We didn't want to risk running out of gas or something. But we needed that last caution, and the guys, as usual, put a can of whoop-you-know-what on them in the pit stop.
Well, you always do that. Another question now. First trip to New Hampshire up here, this track, this area. How do you like this racetrack, the people, and particularly over at Weirs Beach?
They've been very nice to us. The people over at the resort have been really great to us, and all the fans up here really been outgoing. You know, I just can't say enough for everything. Everything went perfect today. I mean, it really had to drive hard. And but boy, the pit crew is behind me, and they made some great pit stops, and it just feels good to be where I am right now. And I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm not going to boast about how good we did the first 4 races. I must be doggone glad to get another one because it's a tough deal.
Did you ever have a feeling that any time today that you wouldn't win the race?
Not really. I mean, a lot of things can happen. The last pit stop, obviously, you know, I was a little concerned because we were second and Davey was pulling me. But we made a wedge adjustment right there at the end. We loosened the car up a little bit. So I can drive for 30 laps, and I did that, and it worked out. But, hey, it's a whole team effort. The motor run like a clock. Buddy did a wonderful job again, and the crew's just happy, and we're really a thick group of people. And I hope Miller Genuine Draft and all the sponsors enjoy it.
Well, I'm sure they do. They're a very successful group of people, too. We'll let you guys celebrate for a while. Randy?
We're standing here with Mark Martin getting a cool drink. Of course, he's one of the drivers in better shape here. Mark sat on the pole, could have won the race, maybe Unical bonus, but you finished second. You gotta be happy about the way the car ran here today.
We gave him all we had. Rusty was driving his tail off. He was all over the place, and I was gaining just a little bit on him. I thought maybe I could put some pressure on him and get him to wobble out of the groove, but as I got closer, he got dug in, found him a good spot to run, and I couldn't do it. And then right at the end, I just had to fight for my position with Davey. Real proud of this Valvoline team, these cars. I believe that this is what you're going to see in the second half from this team, and I wish we could have won, but they did a great job, ran real good, and they beat us today. We missed it just ever so slightly and never really got the car perfect, but got it better there at the end.
First time here, you only get a chance to run really 30 or 40 laps during practice, so this was really a practice run as well as a run for the roses, so to speak. But how many different times did you have to change the car during the race?
Well, we fought ours. We changed it once and did what we should have done to it, and it went junk on us. And we went to the back. Then we had to come in and change it back to the way it was when we started, and of course that was too loose, just like it was. So then I had to fight that, and then we started working on it again, and we finished the race about like the adjustment that we made that was junk. So heck, we were confused, we just didn't quite hit it. I believe that we had the car to beat before the racetrack started coming apart yesterday afternoon, and that sealer kind of threw me a loop, and I couldn't get a hold like I needed to.
Okay, well, you got some notes for next time back. Good luck next time here. Okay, back to Victory Lane with Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Randy, the awards continue here. This is Buddy Parrott, the crew chief, that Rusty was applauding so much. And on behalf of T&N Motorsports and Miller Genuine Draft, Buddy, we're presenting you with the Miller Genuine Draft Pit Crew Award for that fine work you guys did. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. On behalf of all the team members, they're the ones that did it. We did a 17-second pit stop with a new crew member on that last stop, and I think that was a lot that told the difference to the story of the race. And but Rusty went out there and took the lead one time. He took the lead when we went out second, and we gave him the lead then and didn't relinquish the lead. So they did a great job, and I'm real proud of this Miller Genuine Draft crew.
Well, you guys have been making those kind of pit stops all year long. In fact, it started, I guess, about the middle of last year. You really work on that, don't you?
Well, we really do, but last few races, we hadn't had a chance to really do anything. But today we were showing them again, so everybody was real happy, and the guys did a great job. And like I said, we did have a new member on the pit crew today, and he did a heck of a job.
Well, now I know that you enjoyed your stay at the resort over at Weirs Beach, because I saw you over there on the beach with some white shoes and some legs that were almost as white.
I tell you what, we stayed over the Nashville over there, and those people treated us excellent. I tell you what, they couldn't have been any nicer. I'd like to thank Mr. Bear up here for putting the racetrack together this great, and just hopefully we can get out of this place, the traffic and all. But I tell you what, from the first race I came up here in 1991, he's done a heck of a job.
Well, they've all done a heck of a job, and congratulations to all of you. Mike?
They had quite a time there at the Boat Slip restaurant last night, and they had a very quiet table in the back because I guess they'd had a real noisy, rowdy one up front Friday night. Rusty Wallace in Victory Lane. We'll be right back. T&N Motorsports exclusive coverage of the Slick 50 300. is brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. Many of the 75,000 people here at New Hampshire International staying around to watch the trucks load up and load out. Rusty Wallace, the winner. Mark Martin finishing second in a Ford. Davey Allison's Ford is third. Dale Jarrett and Ricky Rudd in Chevrolets. That's the top 5. Then Sterling Marlin, Jeff Gordon, all on the lead lap. 1 lap down with Kyle Petty, Bill Elliott, Bobby Labonte, Jimmy Hensley, Jeff Bodine, and Brett Bodine. Then 2 laps back, Morgan Shepherd, Ernie Irvin, Rick Mast, Harry Gant, Jimmy Spencer. 3 laps down come Darrell Waltrip, Bobby Hillen, Kenny Wallace, Derek Cope, Mike Waltrip, and Ted Musgrave. Then 4 laps back, Hut Strickland with relief from Jeff Burton. Dale Earnhardt 4 laps down. 7 laps behind, Wally Dallenbach and Rick Wilson. Further back, Kenny Bouchard, Dave Marcus were running at the finish. Terry Labonte, Greg Sachs, Dick Trickle, Jimmy Speed, Lake Speed, all in the garage, Jimmy Means. Joe Nemechek and Jeff Burton had great starts and tough finishes today in their first Winston Cup starts. Ken Schrader, Phil Parsons, and Jerry O'Neill rounded out the 40-car field. Let's go down to Randy Pemberton.
Well, Davey standing here. Davey, great job today. You took a bite out there with prior to the last caution. It looked right. Rusty went back, did the same thing, and just a little better towards the end.
Well, our car was a little bit loose, and we put a half a round of bite in, and that really set the car up, you know, for the end of the race. We didn't need that last caution, but, you know, luck plays an important role in this game, and today was Rusty's lucky day, but we got to congratulate them because they ran a strong race to come from the back of the pack like they did to win it. And, you know, we had a good race, had a lot of fun out there racing today. Texaco Haviland race team did a great job. It was fun to lead a race for a change, and especially fun to finish on the lead lap. But I'll tell you, Randy, I've had some orders from home. I talked to Krista last night on the phone, and she told me that if I don't tell her, hey, the next time on TV, I'm in trouble when I get back. So, hey, Krista, and Robbie, and Liz.
Okay, so we got the family out of the way. Davey, did you learn anything here today? First time here, you didn't really have a chance to practice that much. I asked Mark the same question. Anything that you would do differently coming back up here next time?
Well, as odd as this sounds, I may bring a different race car. We kind of gambled on something this weekend. It sort of worked out and it sort of didn't in some ways, but we think we know what to come back with. Just wait till next year and come back and try it again.
Okay, we'll see you next week. Good luck.
Thanks.
Mike Joy?
Yeah, I think he knows, and he's not telling. Craftsman Tools, when seconds count, there's no time for second best. The official tools of NASCAR present the Winston Cup point standings. Dale Earnhardt saw a big chunk of his 251-point lead go away. He leads Dale Jarrett now by 171 points. Rusty Wallace is now as far behind Earnhardt as Jarrett was coming into New Hampshire, 250 points. Morgan Shepherd is 4th, Davey Allison 5th, Kyle Petty 6th, Jeff Gordon 7th. Mark Martin moves up to 8th in the standings. Ken Schrader falls to 9th, and Ernie Irvin is 10th. Jeff Bodine 11th, Jimmy Spencer, Sterling Marlin, Ricky Rudd, and Bill Elliott. That's the top 15 in the Winston Cup point standings after 16 of 30 races. Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Well, I'm standing by with Andy Petrie. Of course, he's a crew chief for Dale Earnhardt, and Andy was just one of those days.
Yeah, it was, you know. Kind of been a bad weekend. You know, we had a bad qualifying run on Friday, and, you know, that kind of put us back behind there a little bit. We had a good run coming up through there. Made our green flag pit stop, and the transmission hung in gear, so we couldn't, you know, we lost like 15 or 20 seconds trying to get that thing unhung, and we got back after our lap down, and just trying to get our lap back here racing with Sterling. I don't really know what happened, but they got together and he spun, and well, it just went downhill from there. We lost the brakes after that, and just tried to ride it out.
Well, you saw a little bit of your points lead go away there today to an old friend of yours, Dale Jarrett.
Yeah, that's right, but I think we can keep our eye on the ball and do what we're supposed to do the next few races. I think we can get it back, so we're not real worried about it right now.
Well, and walking up here is Dale Jarrett. In case you folks out in TV land don't know, these two guys went to high school together. They graduated together. They built their first race car together, Dale Jarrett and Andy Petrie. Now Dale is chasing Andy's driver. It's quite a story, but Dale, you had a pretty good day as opposed to what Andy and Dale Earnhardt had.
That's the way it's supposed to go, isn't it? I mean, let's get it straight. Andy built that first car. I didn't. I watched, but he taught me a lot and helped me get my career started. And you know, now we're chasing them. You know, that's the days that you're going to have. You know, a couple of times when we had bad days, they had really good days, and you know, hopefully we can close this up. I know they'd rather rather it not be a cakewalk. They'd rather have to work a little bit harder.
Well, it looked like the Interstate Battery Chevrolet was pretty good under you all day. Wasn't quite good enough to run up front, but still a pretty good car.
Yeah, really, around the halfway point, I thought I had the car to beat. I was kind of riding, and as we'd run on, I'd start catching them, and I really thought we were in good shape. Then the track got slicker, and as it did, our car became a little bit too loose, and we couldn't adjust it to where it was any better, so we just left it alone there. And yeah, I really did think that we were going to be in good shape and have the car that was going to run there with Rusty and them, but we'll take fourth. It's the kind of day that we needed to close this back up a little bit.
Well, congratulations again, and don't let the plane take off without me. We'll be through here in a little bit. Mike?
Okay, Glenn. Hope you've enjoyed the views from our Ray Bestis Brakes aerial chopper today. Right now, those views are of traffic leaving New Hampshire International Speedway, but we're not. We'll be right back. The Nashville Network's exclusive coverage of the Slick 5300 has been brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. Pretty good show here at New Hampshire. These folks enjoyed it. They finally got to see their first Winston Cup race up here after a quarter century of waiting. And one of the fellows who helped put on the show is with Randy Pemberton.
Well, Jeff Gordon did put on a show. I asked him if he was worn out. He said, no, I'm fine. But let me ask you if you're emotionally worn out, because you didn't have brakes there for a little, or at least for a good portion of that race. That must have been a little taxing on you.
Well, we can't be disappointed at all. I tell you, we had a good day. All in all, we come away with another top 10 and almost pulled off another top 5 there. But I tell you, Ray Evernham and this DuPont crew, they're doing an excellent job for me in the pits and adjusting on it and get me out as quick as they can. And we just keep, picking away like we are in these top 10s, and we're gonna get further and further up there in the points. But today we just started running out of brakes, and that was our main problem. The car was off just a little bit, but not as bad as you really thought we were. I mean, the brakes just hurt us more than anything.
Was the track like you thought it would be when you started this race at the finish? Was it like you thought it was going to be?
Well, I didn't think it was going to tear up as early as it did. A lot of people said I think it's still going to, come up. But like the 5th lap, it started coming up, and I was glad that I was up front because it was just going to be single file for a while. And that's a shame because this track's got a lot more potential than that. And, you can do some side-by-side racing here. And I think all in all it was a good show, but, the track basically, handling-wise, yes, it was about like I thought it was going to be. But then you had to slip and slide around the marbles, and I wasn't expecting that.
Okay, congratulations on a good run.
Thank you.
Can a rookie win the Winston Cup Championship? Sure, he's running for points just like the rest of them. James Hilton finished second in the rookie chase when he was in the Winston Cup chase when he was a rookie. The Fram Filters 500K will be our next live TNN telecast. That's a Busch Grand National race, Saturday, July 24th from Talladega Superspeedway, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Then Sunday, July 25th, live the Mopar Mile High Nationals from Denver, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, live final round coverage. And we'll be back here at New Hampshire for the Chevy Dealers of New England 250 for the Busch cars, Sunday, August 22nd, live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time here on TNN. Well, let's get some thoughts from our resident woodchuck from the state of Vermont. Ken Squire, New England's and the nation's senior race caller, is with us and has had a chance to look and kind of overview this as we've been calling the lap-by-lap action for you. Ken?
Well, thank you, Mike Joy. Mike earlier referred to this race as Bob Baer's Field of Dreams, this wonderful facility. And I had a couple of thoughts about that. As you look over this massive, wonderful mile racing oval up here in Yankee Country, a couple of things to consider. This track was built the old-fashioned way. There were no municipal bonds, no state bonds, no politicians' hands were greased on this one. Bob Baer actually put up about $25 million of his own dollars. A fellow that never got a high school diploma. Loves this sport so much. This is the thing he wanted to give this New England area. It's a matter of his money and a lot of fans' money. Consider these fans who are here today. A fellow was walking out yesterday afternoon from over in Portland, Maine, runs a Super Sportsman up there, and I was saying to him, how many races have you seen on this track? He says, I've seen them all. I said, really? How come you've been to every one of them? He said, well, I just thought it was very important that NASCAR saw how we New Englanders felt about stock car racing. And he had his money invested in today, too. And what a payoff for everyone. What a grand new facility we have here in New England for motorsports in years to come. Thank you, Bob Bear, and thanks to all these incredible fans who turned out on this magnificent day. What a day it was for a race. Mike?
Ken, I think it's a day that all of us who've supported New England stock car racing over the years can well be proud of. Buddy Baker, your thoughts?
Well, I'm kind of like Ken. I mean, great race. I think everybody, when they come back, will be much more prepared for this type of racetrack. Definitely, a lot of them will have better brake scoops.
Neil?
Well, I think it's a great win for Rusty Wallace, but I think the big winner might be motorsports in general. Moving to new areas, big sport, it's great to see it.
First track new on the Winston Cup circuit since Sears Point, California in '89, Watkins Glen before that. And next year, the series expands to Indianapolis, Indiana with the Brickyard 400, bringing the total number of races to 31. As this sport continues to grow, both in stature, in its impact around the nation, and the great places we get to go to see it run, and that we're proud to bring it to you live here on the Nashville Network. For all of us at TNN that have been proud to be a part of this first Winston Cup race at New Hampshire, for Glenn Jarrett, Randy Pemberton, Ken Squire, Buddy Baker, and Neil Bonnet, I'm Mike Joy, congratulating Rusty Wallace on his 5th season victory here at Bob Bear's Field of Dreams, New Hampshire International Speedway.
Just 2 weeks later, the weekend of August 21st,